right, welcome back to the IMNerd podcast, guys. I'm your host, Freeway, and I'm here with my co-host, Kenny. And today we are actually going to be doing an episode to kind of review and talk about Attack on Titan Final Season Part 2. So we did an episode where we kind of discussed Attack on Titan Final Season Part 2 and Demon Slayer together when they were both on earlier episodes in their seasons. But now that Attack on Titan is...
It was like episode 5 or 6 of Demon Slayer Season 2, and it was like episode 1 of Attack on Titan.
Yeah, because they were both doing a lot, I feel like. But things have definitely kicked off. Before we get into that, though, how about I just give a quick shout out to our patrons over at Patreon, because we have a ton of them. There are 32 of you now, and this list just keeps growing. There's a Discord server for the IMNerd podcast that you can gain access to by being at even the lowest tier on our Patreon, so check that out if you guys want. But our patrons also get shout outs every episode, so sometimes we do it at the end or towards the end, sometimes we do it in the beginning. This episode, I'm just going to do it now. So we have Connie, Austin, Leon, Quest, Garen, Xavier, Hylian, TCG Automotive, Silver Chronic, Tyree Tinsley, Dimitri Barnes, Alexander Brissett, Vinny Casello, Giovanni Avalos, hope I'm saying your name correctly, Game Freak Yoshi, Alex Flamer, Gabe Marini, Andre Reynolds, CJ, WKDad1, Saul at Dabber's Gaming Cafe, Dan Vrabel, Dennis Milburn, Joseph Marcello, Scott Page, Red Vines, First to Home, Dalis Forneris, Tom Watabiki, S. Akuma, Mitchell Nels, and I said I was going to try to remember this name, but it is so hard.
Is that the Aethor guy?
Aethor. There you go. Aethor or Narson. Yeah. Shout out to you. You are actually the newest patron, technically, even though some people have like refreshed their Patreon and rejoined at higher tiers. Mitchell. But yeah, some people have come back and they've even come back with a higher tier level. So shout out to you guys. You guys make all of this possible. We really appreciate you guys for this. But without further ado, let's jump into this episode of Attack on Titan Final Season Part 2, the final discussion that we're going to have on this. And, you know, maybe down the road we'll do something else. But I just want to start off by saying, I'm just going to shoot some shots right away. Why did they call it Final Season if there's going to be...
So if this is where we're going to start.
We're starting here, dog. We are starting here.
Here's what I want to say, right? In terms of the... So... As you know, and whether or not other people know, I don't know. I watched the entire season in one night, instead of watching it week by week.
Yes.
And I just, spoiler for the rest of the episode and things we're going to talk about, I really thoroughly enjoyed pretty much every episode that I saw. I liked it a lot. However, if I have one fucking complaint about this shit, it's not the Attack on Titan, the series. It's the fucking marketing team that decided 3 years ago they were going to call something the final season, and damn well knowing there was going to be 3 parts because we got the final season and everybody was like, I can't believe this is the final season.
Right.
And then people were like, I think there's going to be a part 2. There's no way they're going to wrap it up. And then we got final season part 2. So then everybody was like, okay, this is it. And so everybody was gung-ho that this was going to be it. And so let me tell you, as I'm watching it, right, because I didn't even know how many episodes were in the season. I'm watching it. I don't know where I'm at. I don't know how many episodes are left. And then I was watching with my girlfriend. She goes, you want to finish it tomorrow? We'll watch the rest of it tomorrow because we had plans to play Monster Hunter with somebody. And I was like, well, let's check and see how many episodes are left. I'm thinking there's like 10 eps left. I checked, there's 3 episodes left. And I go, hey, there's only 3 episodes left. I think we can just finish it tonight. And then I go, hey, do you know what that means?
When it all sets in, right? When it finally sets in.
I was like, there is literally no fucking way this is the end of the series.
Right.
There is going to be a part 3. Like, because it literally cannot wrap up in 3 episodes.
Yeah.
I was like, there's going to be a part 3.
Unless it wants to be the worst show of all time.
Yes. And so it was a really weird experience of being really frustrated, but also excited. Because on one end, I was excited because I was like, all right, sick. There'll be a whole nother season. Things will get like a proper wrap up. Like, they're not going to rush the ending. But on the other end, it's like, why the fuck do they keep telling me this is the end? Like, what the fuck?
So, to bring this back to something you were talking about, I'm glad you said this one part in your spiel just now about how someone in the marketing team, they knew that it was going to be split into 3 parts. Whereas people might be wondering, well, you guys love Final Fantasy so much, and that's called Final, right? But there's literally 16 plus of them. The difference with Final Fantasy is, I don't know if people know the origins of Square Soft at the time, but they were actually going to go out of business. And Final Fantasy was their actual last RPG that they were creating. It was kind of like a our company's going to shit, and here's our last game, and this will be it. And it did phenomenal. It actually resurrected the company, it revitalized them, and it made them into what they are today. Basically, it's kind of spearheaded it, and that's their main franchise. Obviously, most people know Square Enix now, for Final Fantasy, and even their Kingdom Hearts and all that type of stuff. But the difference
it all started with that Final Fantasy.
Yes, they thought that was the final. Like they thought that was it. They thought that was the end of their RPG legacy. And this, like, they knew, because the manga's been finished for a while now, from what I understand. I don't read the manga. This is not a manga podcast, so if you are worried about that, we're not going to talk about anything that happens in the manga. I actually do not know the ending for Attack on Titan at all. Go ahead.
So same as you. I used to read, like, before Attack on Titan started, I read the manga.
Yes, same.
But that was like before season 1. And I had read the manga up until, at the time, current, and the content was like season 2 content. Yes. And as you know, season 2 took like 3 years to come out.
It did. Whatever. So I did the same thing. I read up to season 2 in the manga way back when the show was on a 4-year hiatus, because Attack on Titan took a actual 4-year hiatus. Yeah. And I read the manga because it was a month-to-month manga. I read the manga for a while, and then I just stopped, because looking at the artwork and the actual anime, and then looking at the artwork in the manga, I just was not pleased. It's very sketch looking, so I wasn't a fan. But yeah, we don't know the actual ending. A lot of speculation is that they're going to change it because people didn't agree with it. I don't know if that's actually going to be true, but we'll see.
Well, another thing I heard, so you are correct. The manga has been done for a while. And I know this because when they announced the final season, however, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whenever it was, everybody was, and they announced the final season, and then the way it works, I guess, because of, whatever you find out how many episodes are going to be in the season beforehand. So I think everybody knew it was only going to be 16 episodes. And so people that read the manga were like, the anime is going to suck. Yeah. Because there's no way they can wrap it up in 16 episodes. And that started like a lot of shit.
Like some Promised Neverland season 2 type shit.
Yeah. And so the final season, part 1, was fucking amazing.
Oh my God. And honestly, that's the only season that can compete with Attack on Titan season 3, part 2.
Yeah.
Part 1 of the final season, and this is going to be annoying having to say this. Part 1 of the final season, part 2 of the final season, part 3 of the final season. I hate it. But yeah.
It's so dumb. Because somebody on the market, and so here, that's the thing that annoys me, is because I actually really did enjoy, and we'll talk about the specifics. I really like the last season that I just watched a lot. But what's frustrating is that, like, because the story itself is still the story. It's still like the writer's vision.
Yeah.
I think what leaves a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth isn't necessarily the story, it's the marketing. It's the fact that it was marketed to people a certain way, and so people expected a certain thing and got excited for a certain thing.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
When it didn't lead there, it's like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah, don't call something final if it's not final, unless you're Final Fantasy, which again, they get a pass because they made calling something final that wasn't actually final cool. Like, they made it cool.
Yeah.
And then, you get shit like Final Destination, which the first one of that movie was really good, and then it just kind of got worse and worse and worse.
Want to know what's really funny? When you said Final Destination, I was like, what's Fraser talking about? That's literally the last level of the game. I was thinking Smash. You said Final Destination. I was like, it's the last level. What are you talking about?
See, but it was the last level. They did it correctly. But yeah. I liked parts of this season. So let's start about the good part, because I have some gripes with the final season part 2. I'm actually a little nervous now. Going into this second half of the season, I guess. I guess it's not a half, it's 33%. Going into this 33% of the season, I had high hopes because I think the first part of the final season was done so well. I like so many things about it. I love that Eren, the way he's changed, and we didn't quite understand why or what happened to him, but now we get that now. So that's what this season is kind of about. I feel like this season was a development arc for Eren. That's what the entire, and then like the last episode of this part of the season was where it all comes to a culmination, right? You see everywhere. It's a lot. There's a lot that happened. And I think it kind of just starts off where it left off with they're still fighting. Like, they're literally, Eren is fighting against the Jaw Titan. He's fighting against Reiner. And technically the cart Titan's also around too. So
it starts right where it leaves off. That's something that threw me off too, is because I was watching it on Hulu, right? And when I went to Hulu, I was expecting like to click the drop down and to be like season 1, season 2, etc. And for it to be like a separate thing, but it wasn't. It was just still in the same season as part.
I get what you mean, yeah.
And so like it ended. So like final season part 1 was like 16 episodes or whatever. And so this was literally episode 17.
Yes.
Like it wasn't, and I think that's what they're trying to say. Like, no, it really is just all one season. See, it's episode 17. It's not episode 1. Like,
yeah,
whatever.
But it could have easily been just called, season 3, part 2 could have just been season 4, and then this could have been 5, 6, 7, and that'd have been it.
Yeah, realistically, this is season 6.
This is season 6, yes. So anyways, it starts off, Levi is half dead or whatever, and I think we did bring this up a bit. But he's alive, obviously, because if they wanted him dead, they would have made a big deal about his death. So I knew he wasn't dead at the end of the first part.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like that, Levi's not the type of character that you kill off screen. He's not the type of character that you kill in an explosion that doesn't really have deep meaning for other characters to grieve over. He's the type of character that if he dies, it's going to be epic. It's going to be one of those things that they really make you feel it. And I feel like him just dying in a random explosion to Zeke suiciding himself is just not enough. Trigger warning. But
also, but that said, dude, his face looks so fucked. Like he looks so. When you look at it's like
he has splinters in his face, like
it's like body horror.
It is like actually.
It's so crazy.
It was grotesque. I actually paused it. I rewinded it and paused it to look at how bad he was because he was fucking destroyed. So Levi's ruined. Eren's fighting for his life, but he, the other Titans that are not named Eren Yeager, they just can't. They can't deal with them. This guy is he's too much.
You know who is the top 2 characters in Attack on Titan in terms of like catching bodies? It's Eren Yeager and Gabby. Eren Yeager and Gabby go fucking ham, okay? Like,
well, did you hear the theories that like she is technically Eren from the other side or something like that?
I mean, she kind of, at least to me, I felt like that was sort of the point. Like she's supposed to be, I don't know if foil's the right word, but she is like Eren from Marley.
Yeah.
Like she's the Eren of Marley. Yeah. I mean, and she even looks like Eren a little bit.
She does kind of. She has the same like hair color, technically, she's also clearly an Eldian, right? So there's some similarity there. But yeah, so
she be catching bodies. But Eren beats the shit out of Reiner every time they fight.
Well, he has not lost to Reiner yet. Not once. Not once. Reiner needed a fucking colossal Titan to fall on Eren's back to win their very first fight. Otherwise, he wasn't going to win.
Galliard was catching hands. Like, they just couldn't. It was Reiner, Galliard, peak assisting. They had, like, anti-Titan cannons. Yes. They had all kinds of shit, and Eren was just running house.
And then his big brother comes in, which I actually love that part.
Yeah.
When Zeke just comes in. He's like, leave it to your big brother. I actually love the camaraderie between those two and how they just start dicking on everybody because the Beast Titan just can't be fucked with when it comes to offense from a distance. And from a distance, he is so outrageously terrifying. I think that's like his thing, right? Is the baseball pitch. And
he's a fucked up zoner.
He is the most ridiculous zoner. If they ever make an Attack on Titan fighting game, he's gonna be Link times 10. Like people hate Rob and Link in Smash Ultimate. You're gonna really hate like Zeke. He's ridiculous at zoning. So he comes in, he's doing his baseball pitch, he's wiping out people on the roofs, he's wiping out the Titans can't deal with him either. And Eren's doing what he always does, just persevering. Eren just has, I feel like, I don't know, well, I was gonna say I don't know what the Attack Titan specialty is, but that's a lie now. We do know what the Attack Titan's power actually is. Before I used to say, I feel like he just has more stamina than all the other Titans, because I remember he made a point about it in the final season part 1 about how the one girl, the Warhammer Titan, she had already transformed twice. And he said, you're out of energy. That took everything you had to crystallize yourself like that. I could tell. He's like, but I'm not like you. And then he jumped out of his Titan and then just transformed again. And he's like that line about like, I'm not like you. And he just transformed for a third time in the same day. I was like, okay, so clearly I thought that his thing at the time, I thought it was stamina. Anyways, not to get too sidetracked there because we're going to come back to Eren's powers. But him and Zeke, they hold it down. And there's a part where they're about to be close to each other, but Maggoth shoots Zeke in the nape. It looks like. It looks like he blows him away from the rooftop, and Zeke falls. But obviously, I feel the same way about Zeke that I do about Levi. Zeke is too integral to the storyline to die in such a way. So no matter what happens to him, I'm always like, that's not his end. Like,
also, it was cool because we saw just prior to that, the Cart Titan trick everybody because the Cart Titan pretended to be dead, but really she was out of it. Mm-hmm. And it was like dying, was like skeletal and shit.
Yeah, which I love.
So Zeke literally did the same trick after seeing the Cart Titan do it. Zeke did the same thing, and he used like the fact that the Beast Titan was dying in quotes to kind
Yeah,
of hide.
and that's a trick that Aaron did way back in season 3 when I think it was against Berthold when he was in the Colossal Titan form. He pretended to be crystallized, and then he actually just he was not there anymore. So that's like it's like a little Titan Kagebushin type of thing that they do. They all can
No, it
do it.
really is.
Yeah, they just fucking pretended like, oh, I'm not there anymore. They start
And then,
they
dude,
run. What's funny is them running.
them running is funny. What Aaron did was sick though. When Reiner goes and punches him in the mouth, and he bites it, and then he crystallizes up,
Yes,
and then like crystallizes the body to like hold Reiner, and then fucking
yes.
dips it out of the Titan
He
asshole.
has Reiner's number so bad. He was
He
about to
really
rip.
does.
He was about to rip Reiner's jaw apart, right? Like, wasn't he
Yeah.
about to absolutely? Just the amount of punishment that he puts Reiner through is just mean. It's just fucking cruel at this point.
He fucking destroys him, dude.
And the funniest part to me about it is that in human form, you look at Aaron and you look at Reiner, you're like, "There's no way this guy ever beats this guy."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like when you look at them standing side by side in human form, you would just, if someone said, "Who you bet on this fight?" I would obviously pick Reiner every time. But then they go into Titan form and it's no contest.
Dude.
Like it's just.
Aaron got 3 lessons on how to fight from Annie, and it's never been the same.
It has
like,
not.
Annie taught Aaron how to fight 3 times.
It has
and
just been bad. Catching hands. So yeah. Aaron, fighting off all the Titans. His brother gets shot in the back at the end of an episode. They made it seem like it was a big deal. But again, you know that there's no way they're going to kill off Zeke like that. And then Zeke and Aaron are running towards each other. And here comes fucking the DC sniper, Gabby. She just shoots Aaron's head off. She just
like that shit.
She just straight up shoots his fucking head off. And that I wasn't ready for. I didn't know.
No one was ready for that.
Okay, one of the things I brought up to my friend Gary, but is our mutual friend, was that I don't think we've ever seen a Titan be killed in human form outside of being eaten.
Yeah, yeah.
And when Aaron got his head taken off, I said, well, that's death 100%, right? Like that, this is 100% death, to anybody. So it was interesting that this is the first time we've been in this shit for 6 seasons now. We've never seen a Titan person be killed outside of being eaten and then their powers just get transferred. We never just seen somebody die, right? Like you never seen Annie didn't die, Reiner didn't die. No one has ever died on screen from a non-Titan related death, like a non-Titan related kill. So I thought it was interesting to see his head get shot off. Obviously, it's not the end of him either, but you're still tensed up because it's like, holy fuck, this little girl again. Like again, she's just ridiculous. Like not only is her snipe game insane, but it's always at like these crazy moments. So
yeah, when you first meet Gabby in the final season part 1 is when she fucking pretends to be a civilian and she throws like the grenades at the train
on her feet.
Like she's insane.
She's actually crazy.
An interesting parallel with Aaron interesting parallel with Aaron is all the way back in the beginning of the series, right? You see Aaron die, and at the time you don't know that he's a Titan, but the big fake out, like he ends up surviving.
Yes.
And I think it's interesting here that we have again a moment where they kill Aaron, they shoot his head off, and I, like you, was like, on one end, I know this can't be the end,
right.
But on the other, I'm like, what the fuck is going to happen?
Yeah,
like,
I didn't know where it was going to go because we never saw a Titan regrow their body from just a head. We've seen Aaron regrow all of his limbs. We've seen other people regrow their limbs. We've never seen a Titan grow from a head only. So this was unique, and the writer is smart for that, and I do give them credit because we've never seen it before, so you don't know what's going to happen. Imagine if he just got his arm shot off, we wouldn't think anything of it, right? Me and you would just be like, that.
Yeah, like okay, whatever.
That doesn't mean anything. The boy fucking chopped his own leg off, apparently. So to us,
he did, and stabbed his eye out. So to us, it's like, seeing him lose a limb, not a big deal, but seeing him lose his entire body, I was like, well, that's this is unexplored territory, and it made sense that they never showed it before this because it wouldn't have the same impact that it had. When I saw his head get shot off, I actually was, like you said, I didn't think it was the end, but I was still kind of like, what the fuck is going to happen now? Yeah, because just like how you said, the Beast Titan, like Zeke's not going to die, like Zeke's not dead, Levi's not dead, but on that Aaron part, I'm like, he's not dead? Question mark.
Yes.
like,
yeah, definitely not dead? Question mark. So, but then in Attack on Titan fashion, Zeke actually catches his head, and the second he puts his fingers out and touches Aaron's head, they go into the realm. The coordinate realm. And this is where I think the show really comes to life. It reminded me of Game of Thrones season 6, Hold the Door. This is a hold the
Yeah, yeah,
door.
yeah, yeah.
This next episode, so that's like the end of the episode is basically them touching. And then the next episode starts off where they're actually in the coordinate realm. And Zeke is his goal is to like show Eren everything. Like that's his goal.
A really cool thing about this is at the very start of this season, we see like after Levi blows up, we basically see how Zeke comes back. They show us the coordinate at the time. I don't think they say the name, but Zeke is there, and there's like a girl rebuilding his body,
Yep.
and he doesn't know what the fuck's going on.
Yes.
And he says like it feels like I've been here for an eternity, but also for 1 second,
And
etc.
somebody says, "What happened?" He says, "I don't know."
Yeah, and then before he leaves, he like looks at the beam and he's like, "Oh, those must be the paths."
Right.
And then like he wakes up, yeah, and then he's butt ass naked talking to some guy with his dick out, and he's just like,
Yeah, he definitely was
don't
butt ass, and they just staring at my man too while he's butt ass.
like nobody offered him a towel, a rag, nothing.
Yes. So I guess at this point you've seen Zeke and Eren technically die, right? They've both died. And I'm
Yeah.
using air quotes for the people on Patreon who are watching this as opposed to listening to the audio. But yeah, we've seen both of them die now. And now they're both in a realm. Who starts off? Does one of them start off handcuffed in this realm immediately or?
Zeke is shackled. We
Right.
find out that he's using the shackles to like trick and test Eren.
Right. He was
But
asking
Zeke is
Eren, like,
shackled.
what do you really, what do you want to do for real? He wants to see, because Eren and him had a pact. They had a
Yep.
pact that they were going to do this, euthanize all of the Eldians and make it where they can't reproduce. That was the goal. But Eren pretended like he was with it, but Zeke knew, and the way they showed that Zeke knew is because Eren dropped the baseball when he threw it at him.
Yeah. It was a cool scene.
I love that scene. I love that scene. So
You
it's
know what's fucked up about Eren though? I feel like he was ready because so in that scene, Eren goes to shake his hand. Eren was ready to start shit there. Like if Zeke shook his hand, I feel like Eren was ready to get it popping.
Oh, me too. I definitely think if they touched right there, Eren was going to go postal and wipe out Marley, and then he was going to do a rumbling from there. Like he didn't need.
Yeah.
He could do it from anywhere.
Yeah, I think Eren was ready to pop off right there, and then Zeke goes, "Oh, we shouldn't shake hands. We shouldn't touch yet, and let's throw a baseball."
Yeah, because Zeke needed more time to think, and he didn't fully trust his younger brother, which is smart because if he, like you said, I think that if he touched Eren right there, Eren was like, "Gotcha." But they do go for a handshake to kind of solidify their plan, and Eren, we know Eren's not with that shit. When I first heard the euthanize of all the Eldian plan, I knew that Eren was not going to be with that. There's no way. So yeah, they're in this realm. Zeke is pretending to be shackled, and then you get this like little reveal that he's actually not at all shackled, and he gets up and he's like, I there's a lie that's been told about how this power works. She actually listens to whoever is a royal family member, no matter what. She can't like disobey. So then Eren ends up shackled, and I was like, God damn it! I was actually annoyed at the end of that episode when Zeke did the switcheroo. I was annoyed because when Eren started talking his shit, I was happy, dog.
Yeah, you were hyped. I was hyped too.
When Eren was in the coordinate realm and he was talking big shit, like I was never going to do that plan that you came up with.
He was like, "You are an idiot." Like,
yes, he like when he started popping his shit, I was hype as fuck. And then the next episode, you get the switcheroo, and then Zeke starts popping his shit, and then Zeke's like, "Let me walk you through everything that's happened." And this is the best episode of Attack on Titan for me because this basically brings everything in full picture. Like it's the full picture of what's really happening here. So they're going through, and Zeke has always been under the impression that.
Well, wait, hold on. Before what happens first? Does Grisha's memories happen first, or Ymir's memories happen first? Because the Ymir flashback, I think, is pretty important too.
That one is important as well. Yeah, that one's important. We're definitely not going to gloss over it. So I guess I'm not sure the chronology of which one, because I watched it when it first aired, and it's been a couple of weeks now.
Yeah.
It's been probably months now since that episode aired. But
yeah.
We do get a Ymir flashback where he kind of explains like. I guess Zeke doesn't explain, but the show just does an episode just based on her. Oh, and the cool thing about that episode is that it's called like To You from 2,000 years ago.
Yep.
And that first episode of the show is called From You 2,000 years ago. There's like that little correlation there. Eren and her have been talking to each other in a weird way this entire time.
They show that like Ymir is not an Eldian. She's just like a person.
Yes.
She's like a person, and the Eldians were just like a traveling war tribe or whatever that comes and ends up enslaving this village, and Ymir's just like a random slave. And then one day she's literally like getting hunted. They like send her out. She's running for her life. She's getting hunted by the Eldians, and then blah blah blah. She ends up like in a thing. and then she connects with like this spinal cord alien thing.
Yeah, literally a fucking alien. I don't know how else to describe it. And the show actually leaves this ambiguous. It doesn't tell us where it came from, what it is. It just connects with her and it gives her this ridiculous power.
Yeah, and then that's how she becomes the founder Titan. But her being a slave for almost her whole life now just goes back to the King of Eldia.
Well, and the crazy thing is, after she gets the power, she continues to be a slave to the king. And the king is awful. He's an awful human being. He's like, as a sign of gratitude, I'm going to let you carry my seed, which is some really rapey Game of Thrones type shit.
He's a disgusting person.
Like some Joffrey shit. It's some like how Joffrey said, I'm going to put a baby in your belly to Sansa. It was giving me that vibe.
Yeah. It's crazy how like indoctrinated she was though, because she could just wipe him off the face of the earth.
She could wipe out him and his entire army.
But she was just like shackled by like this being a slave.
And now that you said that, it reminds me of something else too, because slavery is a mindset. And that's pretty much she had the power to end her slavery and the slavery of everyone else. Technically, like, right? Like she, but
she could have easily ended it.
But mentally, she was a slave. And that's the more important thing. And that, that kind of goes back to real life too. Like there were more slaves on the plantation than there were slave owners. So in a way, the slaves have more power. So she being a slave, she had more power than the king. And she's going out winning wars for this man. Literally, they show her wiping out other countries and shit in war, wiping them out.
Yep.
But yeah, she has a slave mentality, so she never breaks out of it. And at some point, somebody makes an assassination attempt on him, right?
Yeah. So this is what's first. They have 3 daughters, and this was like cool. The 3 daughters are Rose, Maria, and Cena. The name of the 3 girls. So that was when they did that, I got so fucking hyped.
Yes.
Just because like it's just such a little thing, but it was really cool. But somebody tries to make an assassination attempt on the king, and then she jumps in the way. She gets hit by the spear and she ends up dying. And the king's like, get up, like I know you can get up. But she ends up actually dying. And my guess here is that like it's been 13 years and it's kind of like run out, like her powers run out. But I'm not 100% sure, but I'm guessing that was like the end of the road for her.
Yeah, because we don't really understand. I have to imagine she didn't die from that.
Yeah, like the spear isn't what killed her. I assume it was like the end of the road for her being a Titan.
That makes sense. You're right. I think that her 13 years was up. And then he makes the daughters ingest their
mom.
And he's like, make sure you don't miss any bit. And so apparently
her spine specifically.
Which I don't know how he just knew that would work like that. I think that's interesting too. That the show kind of leaves that ambiguous.
I'm assuming like she told. I don't know. It's tough to say.
It's a weird thing, right? Like, because the thing that attached to her definitely was a spinal-looking creature.
Yeah.
But he didn't see that, and I don't know what actually told him gave him the information to know you have to, and specifically the spinal fluid is what you need. But the main point here is that he made his 3 daughters eat their own mother, and in the anime they kind of black it out a bit. They don't show it as gruesome as it is. You just see like parts of her body on a table. But then I went and looked at the manga just to see, because I heard that the manga was darker, and the manga is way darker. It just shows it. It shows the kids with the blood all over their face. It shows her remains and everything. It's really dark. So yeah, they eat their mom. They inherit the Titan's power. And yeah, that's kind of her backstory. It's very simple, but it's very dark. And it's fucked up too. It's very dark and fucked up.
And it shows how like the Eldians. So it's interesting because like the Eldians were just like a war tribe. And then Ymir was just a random girl. But how the Eldians as they are now became what they are now is that he sort of gave the order on his deathbed, like, all my 3 daughters go out and have a bunch of children, and when you die, your children will eat you. Yep. And then, like, when they die, their children will eat them. And so, like, what essentially created the Eldian race and the fact that all of them can become Titans is the fact that, like, there was a lineage of children eating their parents.
I wonder,
inheriting, like, this Titan.
One thing I wish that they did was that I wish they went into how the 9 powers got divided like that.
Yeah, that's something that I don't know if it's going to get revealed.
I don't think it is later. I don't think that. I think that's. I personally, at this point, I don't think we're going to get anything about the 9 and how that power got split apart. Yeah. I think they're kind of past that. And that's what I don't know. Maybe they will split an episode on it.
like maybe we missed something. I don't think we did.
I don't think we did either. Because remember, I used to ask the question: Eren has 3 Titans. How do you separate his? If somebody eats Eren, they get all of them. They get the Warhammer,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Attack, and the Founder. So I was saying, how do you separate without him just dying? Because if he just dies, the power goes to a random Eldian in the world.
But is that even true?
We don't know.
Like I know that's the story, right? Because they said like I think when they said like they knew that Paradise Island had the Colossal Titan
Yeah,
because they were like, if not, like a random Eldian would have been born with it or
yeah,
something like that. But like that sounds right. Like, is that true? Like that seems random.
yeah. I mean, we as viewers have not verified the 13-year thing either.
Yeah,
From a
yeah,
viewer standpoint. Because I used to ask questions. I had all these theories. I was wondering if Eren's lifespan got stacked a couple times because he's consumed multiple Titans. So does he get 13 per Titan? Or is it just
yeah,
13 period? Does the clock reset if he eats a new Titan? You know, I have all these mathematical questions. I'm
yeah,
always
yeah.
thinking about that type of thing. Is there a way to cheat death? Can you, oh, if I just eat another Titan, I just go back, I get 13 years again.
Yeah,
So
I remember we talked about this too with Annie in that like
she's
when
frozen.
when she was frozen, is her life ticking down or not? Because as we find out in the season, when she thaws out this season, she still looks young. Like she
She
didn't
does.
age. We
Yeah.
know she didn't age, but like, did her life still tick down 4
Yeah,
years
and
or
I
what?
guess it did. I think we're supposed to understand that it did because she so it seems like the Crystallis that she was in did not completely stop everything. Like I thought it stopped everything because I said no water, no bathroom, no food in 4 years. That's insane. No human can do that. And even a Titan can't do that if they're not in that Crystallis stage. But she did wake up like super famished and just
Yeah,
like
and weak.
fatigue, weak. Yeah, like one of the girls said, "I can't believe I'm able to beat Annie in a fight." You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah,
that's how crazy it was to see Annie not. So she was weak from not having anything for 4 years, but it seems like everything just because she could hear too. Apparently, she was listening to
yeah.
stories. She knew everything that was going on because you know Armin and
Hitch and Armin.
they kept coming in and having conversations in front of her, thinking that they had you know no audience, and the whole time Annie's just listening. So she was actually completely alive for 4 years straight in a crystal,
Mm-hmm.
completely. And I wonder if she could even break herself out.
Oh, yeah, I kind of think she couldn't because I
Me
think she
too.
would have. I
I
think
think
she would have.
I think there would have been opportunities, right, where she would have been
Yeah.
able to break out, and it would have been like, this is a good time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
But
think that she kind of went into, like, a panic mode,
yeah,
and it was just, like, this panic she created her own panic room, so to
yeah,
speak,
yeah.
and she didn't really have a way out of it.
Yeah, and we know that the Warhammer Titan did the same thing. That's how the Warhammer Titan's power originally worked. Now Aaron can just use it and be mobile at the same exact time. But the original Warhammer Titan was a remote control. You crystallize yourself for protection, and then the Warhammer Titan was like a puppet.
Yeah.
So it's not unheard of for people to crystallize themselves, but can they get out of it themselves? Because the 2 times we saw people get out of crystals, one of them got eaten by Aaron making the Jaw Titan do it, and the other one got broken out by Aaron again
Mhm.
because he melted all of the armor on all of them.
Yeah. He canceled the armor,
No
ev
armor, including Reiner's.
including Reiner's, the
Yeah,
walls, and Annie's,
yeah, that was
but
pretty cool.
that was the whole so before we skip ahead, that was all from the Ymir backstory, and then
Yes,
from there, we were gonna go into the Grisha Jaeger
yeah.
thing.
So this is again, this is the part for me that really just like this was crazy. So they start watching Grisha's life from the beginning, right? They see how he used to be. At one point, Zeke was his only kid, and we know that he was basically an Eldian restorationist, right? That's what they called them.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, that was his goal, and he basically the thing is that he fucked up Zeke's childhood because he wanted for Zeke something that Zeke didn't quite want for himself. He wanted his son to be a part of this restorationist movement, and he kind of instilled all of this stuff into his son, but his son just wasn't a fighter at all. Zeke was a pacifist in
Yep.
every way, and they actually show it too. They show him like him trying to train him in all these kind of ways, and he hates it. So Zeke ends up having a second dad. He ends up becoming really close to this scientist who actually at the time had the Beast Titan, correct?
Yes.
So he ends up becoming
His name's
basic,
like Saver. It's like K Saver.
yeah, something like that. He ends up becoming Zeke's father in a way. And that's the person who Zeke really looked up to. He ends up, as you know, the story he ends up telling on his own family. He ends up
Yep.
ratting them out. And that's kind of how the story really kicks off. But anyways, they fast forward to when Grisha gets to Paradise Island and he goes to start a family. There's a part where he goes to the room where they do the ritual for the founding Titan. And he's like, I thought that he didn't know about this for years. Like it's
Yeah,
odd. He
yeah.
was surprised, and this is so funny. He was like surprised that Grisha went there before the time when he killed the Reese family.
Yeah, he was like, he found it so quick.
Yeah, he was like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't think he comes here for years. Because at the time, I don't even think Aaron was born yet. It was
Yeah.
pretty immediate when he got there. He like knew where their hideout was at. He knew, exactly.
Aaron was either not born or was like 1. Like he was really young.
He was super, super young or not born. So he sees that, and Zeke is confused at that moment because he's like, huh, I thought that he didn't know about this. Then he gets another confusing point where he thought that he completely forgot about Zeke. He was under the impression that his father, his real father, had completely forgotten about him once he got to Paradise Island. He thought that he gave up on his old life and just wanted this new life, but that wasn't the case. He actually saw Grisha was crying about him. And there was that one moment where he even called up to him, "Are you there?" That was creepy. That part, and we didn't quite understand where it was going yet. Still, and
it was creepy because at the time you just on one end it's just him, calling out for his old son.
Yeah.
They show the picture of his old family there, and he's thinking about him. But then he looks up and he's like, Zeke, is that you?
Yes.
He's like, oh, that bearded man can't be Zeke.
Yeah.
And it's like,
that was so good. Because again, while you're watching this, you don't know where it's going yet. And then they get to this one flashback where Zeke says something about in that room where he thought that his dad didn't care about him and he found out that he did and he was confused. This is when Aaron starts to narrate. Aaron kind of fucking carjacks this entire thing. He carjacks the memory. He carjacked.
Yeah, because Zeke was like, I'm going to show you you've been brainwashed.
Yes.
And then they're going through the thing. Then at one point, Aaron's like, oh, yeah, I got it. I was brainwashed. I'm sorry. And like, Zeke's kind of like, anyway, we're going to keep going.
Yeah, that was the awkward
Zeke's
part.
not buying the bullshit, right? And then they keep going. And now Zeke starts to get a little confused. It's like, wait a minute. And then Aaron's like, hey, let's go. Next memory.
Yes, yeah. Then Aaron starts to literally direct them to the next memory and shit. And that part to me, I was like, okay, what's happening here? Zeke's all confused. He's like, I thought my dad didn't love me. And I also thought that my dad, like, he swore up and down that Grisha fucked Aaron up. He thought that he did the same thing but then he actually got to see Aaron's childhood. And he noticed that Grisha never brought up the restorationist shit at all. He never brought up Eldia or fighting for their heritage and all that stuff. He never brought that shit up, not once. He didn't make the same mistake twice.
And as it goes on, he's like, I don't understand. Like, he didn't brainwash you, but you're still doing everything he wants you to do.
Yes.
Like, you're still doing his plan.
And then it gets to the actual ritual where the Rice family is literally about to do their little, nonsense. And he barges in. And we think, okay, they're just going to show us him kill them again. Because we saw this technically from a different angle before.
Yep.
Like, we have seen the Attack Titan burst into the room, kill everybody, including children, and then let the dad go. We saw that before. But we didn't quite understand how it really happened. And as he's watching and he gets to the room, he starts crying. He's like, he pulls out a scalpel and he's like, I can't do it. And he falls to his knees.
They also show you Aaron at some point say that, like, he was disgusted by his father for doing this. Like, he saw his father's memories and he was disgusted at him. His dad was just an awful person.
He falls to his knees and he's crying. He's like, Aaron, I can't do it. He literally says, Aaron, I can't do it. And at this point, Zeke is completely mouth open, I eat ass face. I have no idea what, like, he's just confused. Super confused. Aaron walks over to his dad, kneels down. And if you're on Patreon, you can see the picture that I have up. This is where he whispers and tells him, did you forget about your sister that was eaten? Did you forget about, and he goes down the list of all horrible things that have happened. And at this point, I'm mind blown. I'm sure you were mind blown as well. This broke the internet. This broke the internet. The day that this episode aired, this shit broke the internet. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. This picture was, I felt bad for people who weren't caught up. This picture was everywhere where Aaron whispered into his dad's ear and everyone was talking about it. It was one of those moments where everyone was talking about this. Apparently, what we all thought this entire time had been Grisha's own will to do the Eldian restoration thing was actually Aaron convinced his dad to do this and kill the Reese family and specifically leave the father alive so that he can have Historia, right? Because that's important. Historia's not born yet. Leave him alive specifically. And then, so they what I love what they do in this episode, they actually don't show him kill the family again. They just fast forward that part because we already saw it. They're like, you don't need to see this again. They fast forward that part. They make it real quick, and they show him kind of running out of the hideout, and he's all crazy looking. He's
having a breakdown.
He's having a mental breakdown for sure. His arms are kind of wailing in the air. He's kind of running all weird, and he's smoking from the Titan steam, and he's saying, "I did it, Eren. I killed everybody just like you said, except the father." And he's like, "Now will you show me what happens on that day? Now will you show me my wife being saved?
Yep.
Now will you show me the day where it happens when the wall comes down?" He's like, "You wouldn't let me see it at first." And at this point, I'm like, "A fucking yo." Hey yo. Then he starts confessing about how Zeke
this shit is cracked.
This is crack. Zeke appears in front of him, and he's like, "Zeke, it's you, isn't it?" And at this point, you realize he can actually interact with the people who
fucking hugs him.
Yes, he literally hugs his son. He's interacting with him. He already interacted with him once, technically in the room, but now he's interacting with him again. And this time he's fully aware. He's like, "It is you, Zeke. You're all grown up, basically." And he's like, "Eren made me do it." He explains to him like he wouldn't let me see what happens next. He hid that from me. He hid it from my memories.
Yo, when he fucking says like, "It's not going to go your way from here on out."
Yes, he said Eren's going to be the winner. It's not going to go your way. And then he says, and this is kind of a confusing part. He said he hid what happens on that day from my memories, but he showed me what happens next, and it's awful.
Yeah,
because he does tell him, "I saw what happens next, and you don't win. Like it's not going to be what you want." So he tells him, like, spoiler alert, Eren gets his way. But
but even then, he's like, "You got to stop him."
Yeah.
Even though you don't.
Yes. And he also tells him. So what's cool about this is that we find out in this episode that the Attack Titan's ability, because I've always been wondering, all the Titans seem to have an ability. All of them. They all have something special about them. And I was like, well, what the fuck is the Attack Titans? The entire time I've been watching the show, you see the Warhammer Titan doing this, you see the Beast Titan having this power where he can scream and turn people into Titans with his spinal fluid inside of him. And I noticed that in Final Season Part 1. Remember I brought this up. Final Season Part 1, I thought it was odd that he screamed and everybody transformed on that first episode. But people just kind of glossed over that. And I'm like, how did, like, that seemed intentional. He turned people into Titans. So they explain like all the Titans have these abilities. But for whatever reason, like the Jaw Titan, for example, is the only Titan that can break through the crystallization. No other Titan can do that. Even Eren, with all his powers right now, still doesn't do that.
Yeah.
So we were wondering, like, what does the Attack Titan do? Apparently, the Attack Titan's ability is that whoever holds it currently can see the memories of the person
from the future.
From the future. They can see everything from the holders in the future, which is wild.
What's interesting is that all of the Titans are able to see the memories of the previous Titan wielders.
But the Attack Titan can see forward.
But the Attack Titan can see forward, and then there's also this line of like, the Attack Titan's job is to challenge the hubris of the king. Yep. Like he doesn't, and so it's like the fact that he can see the future is what helps inform him to be able to like rebel against like the hubris of the king.
The Attack Titan has always been a rebel, and it has the ability to see the future. And the way it does it is essentially, I assume Eren is the last Attack Titan, because otherwise this kind of doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. If Eren is the last Attack Titan, then he sees as far as the current Eren. Like current Eren is the last Attack Titan, right? So he can see from him all the way back. So that's how they're seeing Grisha's memories, because Grisha was an Attack Titan. So he sees him and he can see all the way back. And so he sees his future, which he technically creates his own future. He makes sure that it happens.
The other thing that's interesting is the idea that the Attack Titan has always been like fighting for freedom. Like is that the Attack Titan's thing, or is that just Eren? Eren being the final one, influencing for the last 2,000 years the wielders of the Attack Titan.
He said when he hugged Ymir, that was a really emotional scene. He hugged Ymir. He said, "You don't have to do this anymore. You're a person. You can be free." He's like, he tells her basically, "You're not a slave." And
it was a really good moment.
Yeah, he hugs her, and he's like, "This whole freedom thing, we've been communicating for basically this whole time. You've been waiting for someone," he said. "You've been waiting for someone, anyone, to come and save you." I think that was really cool, because it's like 2,000 years she's been doing this. 2,000 years.
She's at the will of people like Zeke, and Zeke, who sees himself as a good guy, thinks he's the one saving the world. Like, I'm going to euthanize all the Eldians because that's going to save the world.
Yep.
But like, even in that plan, he's also abusing this slave, along with all of his ancestors, to continue the abuse on Ymir.
Yep. So Eren has this ability, and I assume that since he is the last Attack Titan, he can see as far as his own future. The scary thing, and I had all these theories. When this episode dropped, I had so many theories. One of the theories that I still kind of wonder about is when Grisha said he wouldn't let me see my wife's safety, right? When he said the words, he specifically in the translation that I saw, he said he wouldn't let me see her safety. We know that she's not safe on the day the wall comes down.
Yep.
We know that that's a lie. She's not safe. So Eren hid the part where his own mom gets eaten. What that meant to me was that Eren made sure that his own mom got. Yes.
I think that's what happened too. If you remember in Final Season Part 1, there is a very key scene where Dinah,
Dinah
the
Fritz.
blonde-haired Titan, Grisha's ex-wife, old wife, when she's coming to the wall, there's the part where Annie, Bertolt, and Reiner are charging the wall. And it's like Annie's running and she's tired and she's like exhausted, out of breath or whatever, because it's supposed to be her and the Jaw Titan taking turns running.
Mm.
And because if you remember, one of Annie's abilities, the female Titan's abilities, is that she can do a yell and like control Titans in the vicinity or
she
whatever.
Can, like, rile them up.
Yeah. So she has all of these Titans chasing them so that when the Colossal Titan kicks the wall down, they can like storm the city, right? But Annie's running the whole way, and they say like the Jaw Titan was and the female Titan are supposed to take turns. Anyway, they get there. There's a part where Bertolt comes out of the Colossal Titan after he kicks a hole in the wall, and he's like vulnerable. And the Armored Titan Reiner is like trying to go save him because you see they show this in Final Season Part 1. Dinah is about to go to Bertolt. Like he's the human that's in front of her, and then she steers away from him and goes. Just like it completely ignores Bertolt and goes in the wall. And then as we know, ends up killing Eren's mom. So if she ate Bertolt, she would have became the Colossal Titan and she would have gained consciousness, would have became a human, and she would have never killed Eren's mom. So I pretty much agree with you that like he made sure his mom died.
And I think that the reason for that is that Eren had to make sure that he always became this person.
Yeah.
So the Eren in the future, the one who we currently see, I call him kind of like the broken man, but kind of a man on a mission at the same time. Because he is broken in one way. And I mean that in a literal sense of like a broken man, not in a cool, like, oh my God, you know.
Yeah.
He's a broken man. But he has this mission that he cannot go away from. He refuses to falter on this mission. And I think to ensure that he always became the Eren that he is currently, he made sure that his mom got eaten and all the horrible things that happened, they all needed to happen. He needed to be traumatized as a kid. He needed to see that happen.
He's the one. Remember in Season 3 when fucking Kruger, the previous Attack Titan, the one that was the owl?
The owl, yes.
He says like you have to save Mikasa and Armin. Like,
yes.
Obviously, we were all like, that's fucking crack. But, like, that's just Eren, once again, influencing everything. Like, that's Eren. Like, that means the owl and all the things the owl were doing was being influenced by Eren, like, then.
Eren has been controlling the story for so fucking long without even being born yet. I kept harping on that episode, the finale of Season 3, because I said, it doesn't make sense. He's talking about I have to protect Mikasa and Armin, but they're not born yet. Eren's not born yet. He hasn't even met his wife yet. He hasn't even made it to the actual wall yet. How was he talking about protecting someone that far in the future? It didn't make sense to me. And now that you understand that the Attack Titan can send back memories. Yeah. It can send back orders, technically. Influence. It can influence the past.
You know something I'm wondering about? And I don't think we'll get this, truly. And I don't think we need it. I think Attack on Titan will be good and end well without it.
Yeah.
But I would be interested in seeing what I would like to call the original timeline. Because, like, my current theory is that there's the original timeline, because there has to be a point in time where Eren wasn't sending the memories back. Yes. So basically, all of this happens, and it happens in a way where Eren does become the Attack Titan. Like, it happens similar to what's happening now, but he ends up failing. And he fails because things didn't happen in quite the right order, where they didn't happen in time. And so the reason why he's able to send these memories back and not create, like, a time paradox is able to make the same events happen to put people in the same place, but do them in like an order that benefits him more so that he can be successful.
That's interesting.
Kind of like what I think, because otherwise it's like just a time paradox, which whatever. But I think at least I find it interesting to think that there's like the original timeline where it still kind of happens this way, but it happens in a way where it's a little bit too late, and Aaron ends up failing whatever his
Mm.
mission is, and so he's sending these memories back to make so that these events happen, but they happen in an order or in a time frame to give him enough time to actually succeed in the mission.
Yeah, I mean, time paradox, just like Hold the Door in Game of Thrones. We see Hodor go from being a normal person named Willis or something like that,
Yeah,
and he's living a normal life. He's a normal kid. And then because Bran needs him in the future, literally at the time he's about to be killed by White Walkers and stuff. Because Bran needs him in the future to hold the door, he wargs into him in the current time, but then also he's in the past when he's doing it, looking at Hodor, who becomes Hodor, and he fucks him over. It's like, what happened first? Because Hodor has
yeah,
always been like that. Before Bran wasn't even born yet. Hodor's like
yeah.
a good 30 years older than Bran. And
Easy, maybe more.
maybe more than 30 years older than Bran. Yeah, easily. So Bran hasn't even been born yet, but yeah, Hodor became that way because of Bran. It's the same thing as Grisha
Yeah,
did everything he did because of Eren, but Eren wasn't even born yet. It's the exact same thing. So I immediately thought about Hold the Door, but we know how that ended. It ended terribly. And Attack on Titan is still, and it can hopefully redeem itself, but I'm gonna talk about some of my gripes soon.
yeah, yeah.
But where this episode ended specifically, this whole he wouldn't show me my wife's safety, he wouldn't show me the day the wall came down. I was like, that's interesting. Safety, that's an interesting word to use because we know that his wife dies.
Yeah.
So I think Eren made that happen to traumatize his younger self so that this always had to happen this way. I think
Yeah.
it's also cool that we got that brief scene where you see Eren touch on Historia's hand at the end of season 3.
Yep, yep, and
That is so fire to me because we know that she's of royal blood, and if he touches royal blood, he gets access to the coordinate, which I really think he saw. I think he spoiled everything for himself then. Obviously, right? That's
I
what the
think that's
season.
when he like really
Yes,
came in contact with future Aaron, and
yes,
like it clicked, and he saw a lot
and
of what's happening.
what's crazy about that at the end of season 3 when they go to the ocean and
Yep.
everybody's super excited and Erin's just kind of dead.
That's when you see him like super despondent, and when
And
that's when he says, because we talked about this in our original Attack on Titan episode,
yep,
how like heartbreaking it was
yeah.
when everybody's at the sea happy, and Aaron's like
So
across the
if I
sea,
kill
or
everybody over there, will we finally be free?
oh
And at the time,
man,
that question is just like, yeah, of course he thinks that because why wouldn't he? But that it's really because he actually touched Historia. He saw everything, and
yeah,
he realized what this is the only way. The season pretty much continues where Eren, he after he blows Zeke's mind, he takes control of Ymir. He actually gets control of her, and he becomes now
her eyes open up for like the first time. You like see her eyes.
and he becomes in real time where his head is shot off. He grows a new body. He becomes the founding titan for real, and he initiates the rumbling. He also does a Discord at everyone, and he tells everyone that he plans to literally flatten the earth everywhere outside of this island. He's going to kill every single human outside of
Yeah,
this
dude.
island.
Right before that, it's like crazy because at this time everybody's like Armin and Mikasa, and they're just like Armin is because Armin's like a pacifist too as well, like
Yeah.
similar to Zeke in a way, right? Armin doesn't want to kill and hurt people, but Armin's like when they go and they talk and they're like, guys, like the euthanization plan doesn't make sense. Like Aaron's not going to want to euthanize the
Yes.
Eldians, and then Armin's like, I just don't think that's what he wants to do. I think Aaron is tricking Zeke, etc.
And he
Right?
was right,
And
and we knew that too.
so when it happens and like the rumbling starts and Armin goes, wait a minute, why is he breaking down all the walls? Just one of them is enough. Like he goes, if it's just to destroy Marley, like just one's enough. He doesn't need all of these Titans. Like Mikasa, what is he doing? Like he doesn't need all of these guys.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a cool part too. They didn't quite understand. We knew.
Yeah, but it's cool because like at that time they're on one end they don't want to just kill everybody, but on the other like I get it. Like Marley's never going to stop. We got to kill them.
Yeah.
But that's when Armin starts to realize like he doesn't need all of these Titans.
Yeah, not for Marley. And that's, yeah, the realization sets in. He actually intends to kill every single person on every single continent outside of Paradise Island. Now, here is where the show starts to make a nosedive for me. I stopped liking the show immediately once I realized how awful it was without Eren as the main character.
Yeah,
Eren has been missing in every episode for it's like 6 or 7 episodes. There's no Eren. After he
yeah,
makes
yeah,
the announcement, after he does the at everyone piece, the show week to week, especially, it just drags where this really weird thing happens. I personally think this is weird, where people have been attacked and killed and at war with these people for so long are now conspiring against him. And he's completely out of the picture now. Like Erin's just gone. Annie's been thawed out. She's back in the picture now. Her goal is to get back to her father, but they showed this brief scene where it looked like her father may have been shot in the head and killed already, which makes it all ironic. But more importantly, you now have this situation where Armin is like, this is wrong. Like if he's going to if he's going to do genocide, because that's what it is, if Erin's
yeah,
about to commit genocide, this is horrible. And so he's not the only one who shares that sentiment. They show in Paradise Island, there are people who, when Eren broke down the walls, he killed people. Like regular Eldians that
yeah,
just were
yeah.
living their lives got killed because of him destroying the walls and the Titans walking past their houses. They've destroyed their property. One guy's in the hospital and he's like, everything I've ever had is gone. My family's gone. I'm the only one who lived. And he's fucked up too. And they're like,
Yeah, and it
Eren's
creates
what?
like this kind of civil war because then there's
It's
other people like yeah, he killed a bunch of us, but he's doing it to save us. And
yes.
then there's other
So
people like yeah, but he fucking killed us.
yeah,
And
so
so it's
some people
creating
are
this discourse.
I get it. If my family was the sacrifice necessary, right? Because that's what it is. Some people are like, oh, it's
Yeah,
a necessary sacrifice. Yeah, some of us had to die for a brighter day. If it was my family that had to die, I probably would feel the same way. If I'm being
yeah. Like
honest,
if you saw your sister with a house on her head, like
bro, I would be very very hurt. So
yeah, yeah,
I empathize. Let me not. I empathize with people, especially the regular Eldians who have not been literally in war themselves. Now the Survey Corps is
yeah,
different.
yeah,
Mikasa, Armin, Flosh, all those guys, Connie, they've been at war with Marley for a while. They've been fighting, literally fighting them for a while. So when it comes to them, I feel like they're hard as nails, hard as nails. Like you've already been at war with these people for a long time. The regular people, I get it. I am not a soldier in real life. Like I've never been in the army, the Marines, the Air Force, nothing. Never fought a battle like that ever. So if anything like that came to our home turf, if something happened where my family got killed, but it's like, oh, but this is for the greater good, I would not be with that shit either. I'd be like, well, my fucking family died. Like,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I do empathize with them. So they showed us that, which I think was an important scene. And then you get this whole thing where you have the Jaegerists. They're like extremists. They're on the extreme side of Eren. No matter what Eren does, they're backing it 100%. At the time, you kind of don't understand it, but then they show later on, and we're just going to go, like, we can jump around at this point. But
Yeah,
you found out that Flosh actually was told the plan. He knew from the gate. Flosh
yeah,
knew this entire time. The plan was, I'm going to get the power of the Founding Titan, and I'm going to kill everyone.
yep, yep.
So he's
Oh,
always been
quick.
with the
Speaking
shits.
of jumping around, we didn't to jump back real quick. There was a scene that I thought was really like I don't know, it like pulled on my heart. There's a part where Gabby is trying to escape or whatever, and then like there's a part where she's hiding and she's talking to like the other people and she's like there were no devils here when
Yeah,
she realizes
I
like
love that.
these people are just like they were just humans like we were essentially brainwashed, we were indoctrinated, like there were no devils here. And she learns a lot about that stuff, and there's like an Eldian soldier that lets Falco go. And then all this stuff happens. We know Falco has the fluid in him. And so there's the part where Falco and his big brother are like trying to get to the Beast Titan.
Yep.
They're like trying to get him to not scream. And so right before the Beast Titan screams, they show up and he like pleads his case to him. He's like, blah, blah, blah. Falco got some of your spinal fluid by accident.
I love Zeke. I
There's
love
also a
Zeke.
quick part where it looks like Eren is trying to ask Zeke to stop too. And he like puts his hand up and then he like tells him, he's like, listen, like, my little brother, like, please, like, I'm not saying don't do it. You can kill them all. Just let me get my brother out of the radius. And then Zeke goes, as a big brother, like, I understand. I'm sorry. And then just fucking yells.
Yo, that part took me out. And didn't he make Falco kill? Like he killed his brother, right? In the transformation,
Yeah, because his brother was holding
and he just gets
holding
exploded
him.
on.
And he just gets, because, you know, Titans, like, have a ton of heat when they transform.
Yeah, he just fucking kills him.
So Falco's older brother, who was like the beast candidate, is just dead. And then Falco turns into like this long ass neck Titan, and he's like, as a big brother, like, I'm sorry, and
Yeah.
he just fucking
And
yelled.
mopey ass Reiner, who's given up on life yet again, is like, all right, well, I'm just let this kid eat me.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as he makes that decision, that's when Galliard comes out of nowhere. Galliard's like, no, eat me instead. And so that happens. So I guess they're still
So yeah,
saving the armor titan for Gabby, but there's not much season left for her to even like. I guess yes, she can still. It'll be epic. She'll get the armor titan at some point, I guess, and that'll be a whole thing. We'll see a female armor titan maybe, but I'm like, with only a few episodes left, maybe it's not really. I don't know. I don't see what impact it could
yeah.
really
I
have.
do. I do think later on in the season we get to see Falco's Jaw Titan. He looks pretty cool. I like the way it
Oh, I
looks.
really like how every Titan looks different for the most part when they get
Yeah,
a new
because
host.
even we've seen 3 Jaw Titans.
Yes,
We've
Ymir,
seen
which is
Ymir's,
terrible looking.
very ugly.
Galliard actually looked cool to me. I didn't mind
Galliard looked
Galliard's.
cool.
Yeah, with the mask. Because I was like, what the fuck? Ymir didn't have a mask.
Yeah. He had like a bone mask.
He
And
had a bone
then now
mask.
we have Falco, who's also he's like really hairy and he has like this beak.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like he
So
will fuck you up bad. But yeah, so we got to see a third Jaw Titan at this point, and he went ape shit later on. But I guess the part for me that really just I do not vibe with is all of Aaron's people. I'm talking about the main core Survey Corps people banding up against him to stop him. I think that is complete and utter bullshit. And it's just like you have been literally oppressed by these people your entire life. It's actually all you know. You didn't even know that a world existed outside of the wall. You've been lied to. You've been attacked. Your family has been killed, especially Aaron's. Obviously, his mom's been eaten in front of him. Connie's fucking mom is a Titan, and she's like just still, backwards on a house. She can't even move because her Titan transformation is fucked.
that scene was crazy too when Connie brought him there, and
Yeah.
then like the guy was like, "Oh, you're really nice, man," and Connie's like, "Yeah, I'm nice."
I really do like because he forgot when you first become a Titan, you lose your memories a bit.
Yeah,
You
and
you
so
have
Connie's
a slight
fucking just
amnesia.
got this guy on the horse, bringing him to see his mom, and then he's like, he's got like that face, and he's like, "You want to help me brush her teeth?" Like,
That line was wild. All of that entire sequencing of him being like, "You want me to help her? I come here every once in a while to brush her teeth, just to check up on her, feed her a little bit." And what's funny is that Falco kind of knows something's wrong.
he's like, "What?"
He's taking me south, but I need to go north. And
Ah,
he feels this weird vibe from Connie. But anyways, they do this whole thing throughout the season, part 2, where they show Mikasa's scarf. It's like the fucking mystery of the scarf. At one point, she leaves the scarf behind completely. She walks out of the room. It's on the table. She doesn't grab it. Then there's a later scene where someone else ends up having it. She goes to get it. And I think this is supposed to signify to the viewer that Mikasa's finally letting go of Eren. She's letting go of her obsession with him and her need to protect him at all costs. Because that scarf has always been like a part of their childhood, has always been a thing that represents kind of like her love for him in a way. And her leaving that behind is like her finally saying, if I have to stop Eren, I will, because I don't agree with what he's doing. Because he's done some really fucked up shit to her on purpose, though. Because he knew he was going to do some fuck shit. He was like, I'm going to do some shit that not everyone's going to agree with. He knew that. And so he said to her before, in their last meeting together, when they had that meeting with her, Armin, and him, he told Armin, like, you're a little bitch. You never been able to do anything. Literally just like that. And he told her, he's like, you don't even have your own fucking emotions. You're literally just a robot. You basically will do whatever I say, and you'll follow me to the end of the earth because you're an Ackerman, and you don't have a choice. And that's the reason why you get those headaches. Like, you don't even have your own free will. You're literally just my dog. Like, he goes in on her, and then, when he leaves out, Armin says, like, that shit he said wasn't true. He was just saying that. Armin's been spot on. Armin's been spot on. His analyses on everything has been spot on. He knew he was the first to realize, he doesn't need this many Colossal Titans. He was the first to realize that Eren wasn't going along with Zeke's plan. He was also the first to know that Eren was on bullshit when he was saying mean things to his best friends. He knew that just wasn't real. He didn't believe. He didn't buy it. But Eren said those things on purpose so that she would let him go because he knows what he's about to do. It would be easier for her to accept if she doesn't still love him and yearn for him and things like that. If he breaks her heart, it'll be easier for her to just like let him go and do what he's doing without feeling the pain of that. Like, I hate him. But they do like 6 or 7 episodes where Commander Magath meets up with Hanji and Levi for some reason is still just he's not dead.
he is big out of commission though. But yeah, he's not dead.
He's super out of commission, and I kind of don't. I'm being honest. I don't see the point of having him as a character anymore. Like, in his condition, it just seems ridiculous.
I don't know what they're going. I don't think I don't think they're ever going to make him a Titan.
That's so right. I thought there was a part of me when he first got blown up. I said, well, the only way he could ever come back to being a person again is if he gets turned into a Titan. And he has to also, that's step one, he has to also inherit a Titan. And I don't realistically see Levi becoming a Titan, like one of the 9. I don't see that happening. He's already OP in human form, but like in his crippled state, I guess if Eren wipes out the world, there's no need for a Survey Corps ever again, so he'll never have to fight again anyway.
Yeah.
So in theory, the writer wants us to believe, well, technically there's no reason to have Levi around. Like after this plan goes through that Eren has enacted, there's really no reason for Levi regardless, right? There will be no more wars, theoretically.
Yeah.
We know that people fight each other too. After you fight all your other enemies, you always turn on yourself at some point. But that's a discussion for another day. So Magath meets up with Hanji and Levi, and they join forces. And they join forces because they know that the first stop is Marley. Marley's about to be wiped out, and it's not going to take long to get there. It's not going to take long at all. So they're like, yo, we got to stop him. We got to stop him quick. So they come up with this whole plan that we got to get this ship that the Asian people from across the seas, they have this advanced technology, a flying ship.
That one scene confused me for a second. There's a scene, I think it's Hanji, and she's like looking out into the ocean, and it just looks like clouds at first. But she looks surprised, and I was like, I don't get it. Like I'm looking, I was like, I don't get it. Like, what is she looking at?
Yeah.
Like she's just looking at the sky. And then when I realized that's the steam, she's like, those motherfuckers are across the ocean. Like
when they said how far they already made it, I couldn't believe it. Bro, you know what, this is all happening on the same day.
Yeah, like
so it started off in daytime. When Eren got his head sniped off, it was daytime.
Yeah.
And these next couple episodes take place at night. Like the sun is setting in a couple of them. At one point, because of the screen, because all of those Titans, all the people who drank the spinal fluid become Titans, like Pixis becomes a Titan. There's this whole really cool scene with this new music that they play where they have to kill him. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
You see them all.
It was like quite a send off, man, because Pixis is the shit.
He is.
And then when you see Pixis as a Titan, it's like, oh man.
I love that. I love how they showed them all kind of on the building, surrounding the building, and you see him and all a bunch of other Titans trying to crawl up. And then they're just like, steal your heart kind of thing, jump off, and they all start killing them one by one.
Yeah.
That part is really cool to me. It's really sad, but it's like, damn, this is what they have to do. So they're killing their own people. But yeah, they join forces together with Marley to stop Eren. And I personally do not agree with this. I just think that this is ridiculous. I guess I'm a Jaegerist. I guess I'm just a fucking Jaegerist. Like, I guess I'm on the Floch. I would be with the Floch group and a complete fanatic of Eren Yeager. I'm here for it. I choose violence. Like, I think if people have been fucking on us for this long, and he said, I'm going to wipe out every life form outside of this island, I would have went back to doing whatever I was doing. This ain't got shit to do with me. They showed one guy, when Eren did the at everyone, and everyone teleported to the coordinate realm, they showed the guy with his groceries in his hand. And after everyone would have made his little announcement, I would have straight up been like, so dude, you said these were $4 for $1? You said these were $4 for $1, right? The oranges, they're $4 for $1. Okay, I'm gonna take, give me $2. I'm gonna get 8. Give me 8 oranges. And how much are your grapes? Like, I would have went completely back to doing what I was doing before he like went on the intercom and made his announcement. Because that shouldn't have nothing to do with me. I'm an Eldian. I'm on Paradise Island. What he just said got to do with me. That's how I feel. I choose violence. I guess like it's, people might think it's crazy, but like genocide and all that stuff, you call it what you want. But these people have been dicking on my man forever. He had to watch his own mom be eaten. And I think that oftentimes people forget about Eren keeps talking about his mom being eaten. He's brought it up multiple times now. He asked Reiner before he killed all those people in that building in the beginning of Final Season Part 1. He asked Reiner, why did my mom have to be eaten that day? I realized that you and me are the same.
Yep. Also, and when he says, he makes it super clear that, also, I think it's weird. I feel like Reiner just realized because there's a scene in this season where they make it seem like Reiner just realized what he meant, because they talk about, basically Eren in that season was talking about how, they took the wall down and they let all the Titans in and they just killed us for no fucking reason. Yeah. And none of this would have happened if y'all just left us the fuck alone.
It's just what you had to do.
And then Eren does that in the ghetto of the district. I forget what the name of the district is.
Yeah, I forget what too, but it was somewhere in Marley, right?
Yeah.
And he said, I can feel this building is brimming with life because of the announcement that Willie Tybur is making right now.
Yep.
So he transforms on purpose, killing all the people in that building, because his Titan in that particular part of the show was bigger than than it normally is. It was way big. The Attack Titan, when it grew out, I was like, holy, we know that he can actually manipulate the shape. I mean, we know that all of them can kind of do that, right? Because the Colossal Titan did a partial transformation on top of the wall in season 2.
Yeah.
He could have did a nuke, right? We know he could nuke and kill it. He could have wiped out everybody right there, but he did a partial transformation because if he killed Eren, that would be awful.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's this whole thing where Eren has this super vengeance plan, and I'm with it. I get it. I empathize with Eren more than I empathize with anyone else. And they're trying to stop him. They're trying to get the flying ship to go to Marley to stop him, even though I personally think that there should be no fucking way that they have a chance. So I don't care what happens in this final season, part 3, as long as Eren succeeds. I don't care what they do, who has to die, Mikasa, Armin, whoever. As long as Eren's plan doesn't get stopped, because I feel like at the point that it's at, where he actually initiated the rumbling, and we got to see in that last episode what it really looks like to have a rumbling.
Yeah.
Dog.
Them Colossal Titans were swimming.
They swim so fucking fast, though.
I wasn't ready for them to be swimming. I just wasn't ready for them to be swimming.
Yo, when I was talking to people about the episode, I said, first of all, why are they moving faster than any ship ever has? And they're creating so much steam that they melted people. They melted people by passing them.
When they swim past and like the fucking just the
tidal wave of heat.
Oh,
there was a tidal wave of heat. Did you see the guy's skin melted off?
Yeah, it was brutal.
I said, oh, so there, when I saw, because I didn't, honestly, before the rumbling, I always had this weird thing. I was like, there's not that many Titans in the walls. If you look at the size of the walls, I didn't think it was enough to end the entire world. I thought it was a lot, but I was like, I don't see how they could end the entire world. Also, with how slow they move. Apparently, they don't move slow at all. They actually move quite fast. And you know that they move fast because when you see Annie on horseback at one point, walking, like riding past the Colossal Titans, you see that they're like, it looks like the horse is moving slow, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It looks like the horse is moving slow as shit. So
when you think about how big they are, like a single step for them.
That's what it is. I didn't take into consideration. This is me personally, my own slowness.
Yeah.
I didn't take into consideration that they're over 20 meters. They're huge. A single step from them would take so long to cover that amount of ground. I mean, even Annie, when Annie was running up on the horses in season 1, she made it look like the horse people were moving slow. She made it look like everyone on horseback like they were moving slow as shit. So I get it now. But then when they got in the water and they were swimming, like you said, I didn't expect that at all. I never expected the fucking Titans to be swimming like that.
Not at all.
They were getting destroyed in the water, and it was doing nothing. Some of them just got back up and they were healing. So I was like, okay, so they heal too.
Yeah, because they got to get hit. They got to get hit. Because you got to assume, right, that all of the Titans that created the wall are people.
They're people,
right?
Yes.
So they still have to get hit in one specific spot.
And if they don't,
kill them. So like,
and if they don't, they will just regenerate.
And dude, and like the heat they create. Because here's the thing, right? The military has advanced. They've created weapons that can legit like fuck Titans.
Yeah, it can kill. They almost killed Reiner in the first episode of Final Season Part 1. They literally shot him with a armor-piercing round. He was not ready, and it's the Armor Titan of all things too, and it knocked him off.
Yeah. The problem is these Colossal Titans, I don't know how many there are. I'm going to just say there's more than 300, but I'm going to say 300. I'm going to say there's 100 for each ball.
Apparently there's thousands of them, apparently.
Yeah, there's so fucking many. But
there's so many.
I'm just going to use the number 300 because I like it. So 300 of them. What's fucked up, though, is if you don't hit them in the one spot, we know how much heat the Colossal Titan gives off. And we know that weapons, for the most part, are made of metal. So when they are just near you, if you don't kill them, you are fucking dead. Like, you're just dead. Like, all of your weapons are made of metal. It doesn't matter how good they are.
Yeah.
If they're near you, you're cooked. Like,
literally, though. Like, quite literally, you are getting cooked. So, yeah, we get to see just how bad it is to have a rumbling occur. Like, it's actually the end of the world for real. So my point in saying that is, after seeing the destruction that they caused against a military might, I just don't see how a couple people in a flying ship should have any chance. Now, the only difference is they have Titans. All the other Titans are against Eren. So Eren has 3 Titans in him, right? And the other 6 are against him. I guess. Like, the other 6 are just straight up against Eren. So, sure, it's a Titan versus Titan type of situation, but realistically, looking at how many fucking Colossal Titans he has, he's going to have to let his guard down, which I don't think that would be realistic to his character. I don't see what they could even do. I feel like once he initiated it, the only way to stop it would be to override it, and I think that would require Historia or Zeke. I don't think Zeke is dead. I think it would be
Zeke's not dead.
Yeah, I don't think Zeke is dead. I think Zeke still has a part to play, and I kind of think Historia has a part to play too.
Yeah, that was an interesting scene when they showed his conversation with Historia.
Yes,
and her getting pregnant and stuff.
I think the last episode was phenomenal. The last episode of the season was absolutely nuts, and I kind of want to do a deep dive into just that episode but before that episode and after he does the rumbling, it's the whole idea is Aaron's committing genocide. People are against it. People are with it. There's a whole big fight. Magath dies. The other commander dies, and that's like the big bulk of it. Annie's back fighting. Falco does his first transformation. He goes nuts. He goes ape shit. But that's the bulk of it.
So to jump on that real quick, right? So to kind of counter to you, so I did, once again, it could be a difference of perspective in how we watched it. Because I watched it all next to each other. I did enjoy a lot of those episodes that you didn't like, the ones without Aaron.
Yeah, I think they're god awful. Jesus Christ. I
enjoyed them a lot. I liked all the content I got and like the character interactions. And as for his friends that are like against them now, I enjoyed seeing sort of the internal struggle a lot of them had. Like,
yes, it wasn't easy. It's not like they just turncoated immediately. But what I don't like is there's one scene that's so bad to me. I think that Medina will laugh at this really hard. I think it's so fucking bad. It's the scene where Mikasa finally turns and she starts killing people, and they do that blood rain scene. I think that scene was ridiculous. Where she stabs, she killed the shit out this guy. She killed the shit out. First of all, it's unnecessary. It was completely unnecessary the way she killed this one guy, but she made it rain blood on herself. And then she stands there like a badass. And it gave me Michael Bay vibes. I wonder if that's in a manga. That scene was so fucking awful. It was cool. Don't get me wrong.
It was hype as shit.
It was a cool scene, but if you actually go back and think about it, it's kind of like Game of Thrones at the end. A lot of cool shit happened in those last two seasons. Those last two seasons, they're bad. They're real bad. But a lot of cool shit happened. We got to see a lot of dragons. But if you gotta go back and think about, like, from a character perspective, does this make sense? It's like, what the fuck? Mikasa standing under the blood rain of her comrades is way out of character and way too much.
Wild.
But yes,
what I thought was cool
there is their turmoil, their inner turmoil.
Yeah.
That's real.
They're in turmoil, and like they even like when they went to the Jaegerists, like they didn't want, like they really tried to end it without killing any of them, and they were like, "This is what you have to do."
Hanji was also the main one who was like, "Dog, I know that we hate them. I know that they've done terrible shit.
But genocide is wrong.
But genocide is wrong." And I'm like, "Bitch, shut your mouth."
And the other thing that's like interesting is that in a way. And granted, we know as the viewer, right, that Aaron is doing all of this for them.
He's doing it for them, yes.
And he reveals it to them. But if you think about back to Final Season Part 1, all of his friends are already kind of scorned by him because they're like, dude, you fucking forced us into killing them. We didn't want to do this.
He went out of his way to sever all ties with his friends as much as he could because he knows what he's about to do is going to hurt them.
So that's why, like, I do,
and he doesn't want them to try to convince him otherwise because they can.
Yeah.
And we saw that in the last episode.
I'm cool with like a lot of what happened in that part because it's like I get it, like I get why they're against them. Because also, if you think about it, their goal as a Survey Corps before they knew about the outside world, their goal was to save humanity. Now, granted, they've now learned more about the world, but I do think that part of them that drove them to be a Survey Corps member still exists. Like when Hanji was saying genocide is wrong, it's like they went to the outside world. That last episode where like the credits are rolling and you see like they were really trying their best to find a way to find peace. And Aaron was like,
he was with it.
He was with it until he realized there's no way to find peace.
So here's what I love about the last episode, and this is why I don't. This is for my argument here.
Yeah.
I saw Aaron try, like honestly, make an effort. He went to Marley. As you know, they invaded the place or pretended to be regular people. The first thing they fucking experience, outside of all the glitz and glamour of ice cream and cars and clowns,
the rapist clown. Yeah. What was that about?
He wanted Levi's butt.
That clown was wild.
He wanted Levi's butt. Once they get past all the glitz and glamour of ice cream, candy, and clowns, they immediately realize that the fucking people in the outside world are just racist as fuck.
Yep.
even if you're not Eldian, right? They found this little kid who stole something. He's from a different country. He's clearly not from Marley or whatever. He's like some
Yeah.
foreigner. This crowd gathers around this little boy thief, and they're like talking about these cruel and unusual ways to punish him.
Cut his arm off because he stole.
Some inhumane, not they're racist too. They're blatantly just racist. They're like they're looking at his appearance. They're judging him based on his appearance. They're judging him based on, they think that he may be an Eldian, and you know how those devils work. We might as well just kill him, hang him, so everybody can see. They're talking wild. So you get to see that people on the outside world living their regular lives are just fucking awful. Eren also gets to witness this. Levi saves the kid. They come up with this whole fake thing. They save the kid, right? The kid ends up stealing from Levi. But the point of that, and I love
Sasha.
Oh, Sasha ends up,
right?
Okay.
He stole from Sasha, yeah. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah, the little boy stole from one of them in the end. But the thing is like, okay, people are who they are. But that doesn't.
Oh, yeah, in the very end, he did steal from Levi. That was funny.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. He stole from Levi. Yes.
Yeah. Because in the crowd he stole from Sasha, and then at the end, after they saved him, he like runs away and he has Levi's wallet. That shit was so funny.
Yeah. But it was like, okay, does he deserve to die and be treated? Does he deserve to be prejudged, so prejudiced? Does he deserve to be prejudged because he's a foreigner, right? Because that's what they were doing. Like they didn't even know for sure what really happened.
Yeah.
Like there was no trial for this kid. It was just like instant. It was like, yo, let's fucking take his arms off.
Yep, because Levi was like, that's not your purse. And then everybody like fucking just jumped on him. And that's when Levi was like, all I said was it wasn't his purse. It's his big sister's purse.
Right.
And that's when they tried to run away.
It got out of hand. It was mob mentality.
So fast.
It was mob mentality. And he realized right there, well, shit, this is exactly how we're treated.
Yep.
And then everyone started talking about Eldians and how they hate them. And it was like all of the ice cream and clowns and the cars and excitement died out. And Eren, Mikasa makes a point about how everyone said he's changed, but I noticed it a long time ago. Mm-hmm. Like she knew he changed a while ago, obviously because she's in love with him. But she knew he changed a while ago. Eren had been already cold to all this, but he's trying. Like I really do believe that his intention was to come there and give it an honest shot. Like I'm giving an honest shot.
They went to like the court. They were like in the court, and they said this is the last time they saw Eren. But they were in the court, and the guy is just up there spewing shit. Like the evil Eldians, this, the Eldian, and like just spewing shit. And then like that's when Eren walks out, and they say like this is the last time we saw him.
Because he says something about the Eldians here are innocent. The Eldians in Marley and everywhere else are innocent, but the ones on that island, those are the devils. Those are the ones that we gotta kill. Those are the ones that are fucked up, and we need to assassinate and torture and do whatever we gotta do. But everyone else, all the other Eldians are fine. They should be blameless in all of this. And that's when Eren gets up and walks out. They show him at night, and he's crying with his back turned to everyone else. He's literally crying. So it's not. I love that it's not like an instantaneous anger into genocide thing. It's I'm really fighting here. Fighting here.
What that shows, because as we know at this point, Eren has seen the future in a way.
Yep.
Right? It can be argued, and it's likely that he hasn't seen the entire future, but he's seen enough. So in this moment, I think he's still trying to do this without the rumbling.
Yes,
right?
I think he's trying to find
he's crying.
I think he's trying to find redeeming qualities in non-Eldians, and he can't.
Yeah,
he can't.
And that's
find
why
any redeeming qualities.
Because he's like, I think that's when he realizes like there isn't another way. Like this is what I have to do.
Yes, and his heart is turned to stone. I don't like everyone coming up with this great master plan in a matter of a couple hours to take down Eren. I don't think that's realistic. I don't think that Magiv and Hanji and everybody getting together, it just seems too unrealistic for them to all come together with this master plan to stop Eren with this flying ship all of a sudden. And the other bullshit scene that really just was like, what? Like when Flosh had his gun up to the one Asian lady's head, or whoever had their gun up to her head, and she did some kind of like, I don't know, jujitsu type shit. And then she was like, I can do a couple things myself. Like that was like, somebody has a gun on you. You can try to do all that bullshit if you want, but like, come on. And I wasn't even too mad at that. Like, it's an anime, so people can do whatever the fuck they want. My issue, I think, is with the character development. Like, I just don't agree. I don't agree with your best friends and people who you've been with this whole time fighting for this thing, where like they know Marley's bad. Like they know Marley has been on their ass. and they visited the country, and even when they visited the country, they saw like they're still on some bullshit over here. Like
Yep.
they're still on some bullshit, and now y'all are like, yo, we gotta stop Eren. I don't buy it. I just don't, I do not buy that. I do not buy them all of a sudden like turning on this man. And I guess even if they turn on him again, I'm fine with that. Like I don't buy them turning on him, but I'm fine with them turning on him as long as they don't succeed. I think them succeeding is ridiculous, and the reason why I'm scared is because I kind of feel like they are. I feel like they're
So
gonna.
I so on that note, so I once again I think if like how what Armin said, I think if they were just taking out Marley, I don't think any of this would happen. I think the only reason why this has happened is because like they disagree with him taking out the entire fucking world.
Yeah.
Which once again, Aaron's doing it for them, but even then they show because like Annie brings it up multiple times. She's like, when I have to kill Aaron, are you guys going to stop me?
Yeah.
And they're kind of like hesitant. They're because they still want to end it without having to whatever. And so I think that
I'm just kidding. I'm being honest. I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm scared that they're going to like. I get what you're saying, and I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I think you bring up some good points. I'm just scared that if this show ends with them stopping Eren, I'm not going to like the end of this show. I'm telling you that right now. And the reason why I think part of this, I'm also a little biased because I know that people didn't like the ending. And I think I'm starting to see that too, because I don't like where it's going. Even if I didn't know that people didn't like the ending, I'm gonna be honest. I've been saying it as I watched episodes week to week, and I got to ponder on them for an hour. I have a post-episode conversation that's like an hour to 2 hours every single time, and I get to sit here and really think about it. And I'm like, I don't like what's happening here. Like, why are they trying to come up with this crazy fast track plan to stop Eren? But like, how could they ever succeed? And after the last episode, seeing what the Colossal Titans can do, they should stand no chance. They should just stand no fucking chance.
Yeah. So,
but I don't know what's going to happen. So
I don't know what's going to happen. I do kind of think. So here's what I think is going to happen. I think Eren is going. I don't think they're going to stop Eren per se, but I think that there's probably still more to Eren's plan.
Okay.
I think that they're. So what I think legit Eren's going to quote unquote win. I think Eren wins.
Okay.
But I also feel like there's going to be more to us because I agree with there just isn't a way they beat Eren. Like they could have all like they don't beat Eren. Like that that doesn't happen.
When you and your girl watched that last episode, I'm talking about the last scene when those Titans made that tidal wave of steam.
Yeah, you don't beat them.
Bro, I know that because when I wasn't, first of all, I don't think anyone can say they were ready for that. I was not ready for that.
I was popping off, dude. Because we were watching it, we were on Voice. We literally put it on Hulu, hit 3, 2, 1, go, and just watched it straight through. Like, just watched it straight fucking through.
Yeah.
And when we got to the end there, first of all, because that's something I was thinking, I was like, I wonder, because I was like, all right, the Colossal Titans are big, but they're not tall enough to stand in the ocean.
That's what I thought too. I was like, how are they going to walk across the ocean?
Yeah. So then I thought maybe they do like a Sonic the Hedgehog thing and they just walk on the ocean floor.
Okay.
And I was like, that's a little silly, but like maybe that's what they're doing.
Yeah. Like
I wasn't ready for them to be I wasn't ready for them to be swimming.
Yeah, like I thought maybe you'd only see the top of their heads because they're that big that they actually can touch the ocean floor. I never imagined in a million years that those fuckers can swim, and the way they swim is so ridiculously fast.
Yeah.
They were swimming think about how fast you have to swim to create a tidal wave.
Yeah. Dude, this scene with the generals where they're like, the generals straight up say like, it's a miracle that we have this combined fleet of like all of the country's militaries.
Yes.
Like, if we don't stop them here, it's over. And they do not stop them. Like, they do not stop them.
That's what I'm saying. I'm kind of like, all right, like I don't know. I just think that they should not in any world be able to stop Eren. And I'm hoping that that's not where it's going, but I have these weird feelings.
Yeah.
And part of it is based on how other people said they don't like the ending. Like I know the consensus is there's a part of the community that really hated how it ended. Yeah, and that the writer may have rewritten it, and all these other rumors that I don't know if they're true. And I swear I really do not know the ending because I don't want to ruin it for myself. I don't know the ending. I have no idea.
Because the anime, we talked about this before. The manga, we both read the manga before, like season 1, season 2.
Yes.
And the manga's really good. But when you see the anime, the art, the animation, and the music of the anime,
oh my god, the music!
It just sets it. It just sets it above.
Yeah, it changes everything. But
yeah, so my like theory. My what was the other like the the one theory which I don't think this will ever get confirmed is like the other timeline where Aaron fails, and I think this like it's somewhat similar, but then this timeline is him sending his memories back to like put it in a way so that he succeeds. The other like theory, I guess, is I think Aaron wins in the end, but I don't think we know all of his plan. Just like when final season part one ended, and it was like, some people really thought Aaron was on Zeke's side at this
Yeah,
point.
some people actually believe that when he put that jacket on, that cool ass scene where he has like an 8-pack, they thought that Aaron was really Team Zeke. I never bought that for a second, but some people actually believe that.
But I think there's going to be further reveals to Aaron's
There's
full
enough
plan.
time for that. Yeah. Here's the other thing. What if this is a timeline where he doesn't succeed, but then it can loop?
Maybe.
Like what if this is on some Game of Thrones like loop shit where it's happening an infinite number of times until he succeeds? So in a weird way, like, he can keep sending shit back to the past and keep changing these, like there's multiple timelines or something. Like what if this is just one of them? And like you said, he may have failed in other timelines. Like you want to talk about the original timeline, but what if there's several of them?
Yeah.
And then some of them, it's like, well, I actually did fail. I didn't get this far. But then he tweaks things and he tweaks things and he tweaks things and he gets further and further and further. And then eventually he actually succeeds. Maybe this is the furthest he's ever gotten or something like that. I don't know. I always, when you introduce time travel though, or any kind of time paradox, like the hold the door thing, you open it up. It can be good because it does open it up for a lot. Because when Bran did the hold the door thing, I started thinking about everything I ever saw. There was a part where you see Robert Baratheon talking to Cersei, I think, and Jaime, and he's like, when I barged in a room, he was screaming, the Mad King was like screaming, burn them all, as if he was like in a trance or something.
Yep.
We don't think anything of it in season 1, but then when you get all the way to hold the door and you realize when Bran accidentally interferes, it fucking stupefies people. It makes them say one thing over and over and over again.
So I have a question for you, because I thought about this. This has been a big thing since it happened, right? Do you think Aaron forced Levi's hand into giving the Colossal Titan to Armin instead of Erwin?
God.
Because that's when this happened, because now you got to realize it's not just that he can talk to the Attack Titan.
Right.
We see that he can euthanize all Eldians.
He can
add everyone. He can change the way they think and things they do. I think it could even go beyond just the Attack Titans. Like in that moment, because it was a big thing. Why did Levi choose Armin over Erwin?
Yeah, we see Erwin raise his hand or whatever, and they showed that he was in class. But like that's also just bullshit, obviously. Like that's
But what if Aaron made him do that? What if Aaron what
if Aaron is the reason why Levi gave it? Yeah, there could be a lot of things that Aaron is responsible for, which is what the meme is. The meme is everything that's ever happened in One Piece and fucking Demon Slayer and fucking Dragon Ball. Literally everything. Like Frieza killing all the Saiyans. They have a picture.
Aaron.
It was Aaron whispering like, "You have to kill that." That way, Goku, the whole Goku thing happens.
That's so funny.
So that's kind of the meme though. Is everything is Aaron. Everything is Aaron.
Yeah, but I like you said with the hold the door thing. I went back and I thought about all of these things in Attack on Titan, and the first thing I thought about was the Erwin Armin thing. Did Aaron influence Levi into giving it to Armin? Because Armin. At the end of the day, Armin is who future Aaron is trying to save.
Do you remember the one commander in the first episode who was about to go and save the mom?
Yep.
And he stops abruptly.
And he just stops. Yep.
Bro. Or what about the part where later on that happens again?
Yep. Because remember, that's like one of our favorite scenes when he goes and he's like, fuck this. And he sheaths his sword and runs away.
Yes.
But in hindsight, it's possible that
because Aaron needed his mom to die. If he killed that Titan, a lot does not happen if he kills that Titan.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
I think that there ends up being a lot of shit that he ends up manipulating outside of the Attack Titan.
He did stop very abruptly.
He did.
It was like
immediately.
It was like his will was to stop the Titans. And it kind of was like in anime when a red line goes through somebody's head.
Yeah.
It was like one of those moments like when you realize something and that red line goes through. It reminded me of like somebody said something to him. I would not be surprised if in this last season, the real one, we get a flashback to episode 1, and they show Eren stopping him from actually saving his mother. Like, no, let her die.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting. So I didn't even think about that one until you brought it up. The thing with I forgot his name, but
I
he
forget
was
his
like
name
the
too.
drunk. He was like the drunk, and he
Yeah.
worked on the wall. But I didn't even think about that until you brought it up. The first one I thought of was Levi, Armin, and Erwin. Another
Right.
thing I thought of was I brought it up earlier, but with when Dinah just ignored Bertolt and went for
Yes.
Erin's mom
Yes.
because she like Bertolt was just in human form right in front of her, and like if she ate Bertolt at that time, she would have never made it to. But also, not only was she had never made it to Erin's mom, this should just clicked. She would have never been like in that mindless state to the point where Eren came and touched. Remember when Eren like was just so angry and tried to punch her, and
Yes.
she's of royal blood and blah blah blah.
Yep.
Like that would have never happened
Yep.
either. So her like that Dinah's Titan staying alive and staying mindless was like very very important for the events.
Yeah, so many things that have happened needed to happen exactly as they have for us to get to this point.
Yeah, yeah, it's fucking crazy.
If Eren has been influencing more than just his father, that's wild.
Yeah, I think so.
Also,
I think so.
I will never forget, because this scene didn't make sense either. The same way the scene about I have to protect Armin and Mikasa, but they weren't born yet from his dad at the end of season 3. Final season part 1, episode 1 starts off with Falco having a daydream or a dream. That's the first scene. The very, 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 very first scene of the final season was Falco waking up and saying, "What the hell? I thought I was just flying around. There were Titans everywhere."
Yep.
And they're like, "What? What are you talking about? We're in the middle of a war right now."
Yeah. So that's one of those interesting things.
What does that mean, Kenny? Like, why does Falco have this vision of
Here's
himself?
what I thought, honestly. But at the same time, I feel like it doesn't make sense, but maybe it does. If that's the case, right? As far as we know, the only Titans that can send memories from the future is the Attack Titan.
Yes.
So I take that to mean that Falco is the next inheritor of the Attack Titan.
Which means he kills
But
Eren.
yeah, I don't know.
He would have to eat Eren for that to make sense.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. That's the only way it makes sense to us. We know that they get memories of the past, but
Yeah.
he's not a
Titan yet.
He's not a Titan yet. So he shouldn't be like, it's one thing for Grisha to have the memories of the future, but it doesn't make sense for Falco, who wasn't even a Titan when he had that dream about being, he basically said he was in 3D maneuver gear and there were Titans everywhere. He was flying around fighting Titans. That's what he said.
Yeah, yeah. I guess the other possibility is like literally Eren, like once again he's an Eldian. Eren literally gave him a vision or gave like
to
you know
make
what I
sure
mean?
that
Like,
certain things happen there as well.
Yeah.
Like to influence him some way. Eren's been fucking with everybody.
Yeah. It's really interesting because the time paradox thing, I know there's some people that the moment time travel anything is introduced, they're immediately turned off.
Not me.
I'm not that way. I think that if you do it right and you make it interesting, and I think the way Attack on Titan's doing it is very fucking interesting.
It is very
I
interesting.
don't think it's bad.
It's not bad yet.
Yeah. It could.
In Game of Thrones, I think Hold the Door is one of the best episodes in all of Game of Thrones.
The only problem with it in Game of Thrones is that that's it. Like
Exactly.
it happens, it gets introduced, and then they never do anything with it ever again. It's just gone.
That's the problem with Hold the Door. It's the best episode when it happened, and then it's immediately the worst episode.
Yeah, because nothing ever happens with it. But in Attack on Titan, we immediately see like all of the effects of it, and it feels like this is kind of ingrained in a lot of shit that has already happened.
Yeah, it looks like we can go back. Unlike Game of Thrones, where we can't really verify. Like it looks like we can go back and point to certain events and be like, "Holy shit, Eren made this happen as well."
Yes.
So if there is, we already know there's a time paradox. It's like what came first, the Eren or the egg type of thing. It's like, well, if this is some kind of time loop, if this is a thing where he's influenced things before he's even born, if he's been influencing things, you know, not just the Attack Titan, by the way, like Eldians, period, that's pretty wild.
Because I think, once again, I don't know if this will ever get explained. I would put safe money on this won't get explained. But I think an interesting idea is that, like, there's the first time this all happens. And basically, when you get to the end of the timeline, Eren becomes the Attack Titan, things happen, and then he fails and, like, Paradise Island gets wiped out. But what he does is he sends memories back
Yep.
only through the attack
To
titan
change things.
to change it. And then over time, he
And
gets
every
better
time
and
he
better.
fails, he could change it though.
Yeah, and changes a little bit more, and then he finally gets in touch with the founder titan, and he's able to fix even more, and now he can influence even more. And that's kind of what I think happened. I think there's like, because the idea is like, well, this doesn't make sense. If Aaron's the one that set it all up, then it could have never happened the first time. But I think it probably happened the first time, and it just happened in a way where Aaron was too late, and so he sends memories back to just slowly try to fix it.
Yeah, well, that gives credence to the idea of a multiverse. Like there's multiple
Yeah,
timelines because if there's only one timeline and he fucked up, well, that's the end of it. But then if he can
yeah,
keep sending shit back then it influences the future in a way, right? Like if he has to make sure that his mom gets eaten, because I'm assuming in one of the timelines he stopped that from happening.
yeah, and then like,
It's
yeah,
like, oh fuck, that didn't work out the way I wanted it to. All right,
yeah.
she needs to die.
It's man, it's so
I
crazy though.
I
There's
think
so
that
much.
the conviction in Eren though is unmatched. So I do want to talk about his character a bit.
Yeah,
People
I love him.
people used to talk about how whiny he used to be and how much of a whiny bitch Eren was, and it's crazy because the writer did write him that way. He truly was that character, that guy that like. It's not like people were making that up. All the people who said that, who are now Eren fans, I'm not going up to them and being like, "I thought you hated Eren. I thought that you called him a whiny bitch."
Yeah.
He was truly that character, but he has evolved in such a way. The scene where he's cutting off his own fucking leg is nuts to me. And then he fucking
Very
blinds himself as
powerful.
well. That entire sequencing of him literally harming himself to pretend like he is an injured person in a war. Not only is it brilliant thinking, but it's also think about how much how strong your conviction has to be in something.
Think about how hard it is to do a backflip, right? Doing a backflip is really hard because like it's hard to get you to jump and throw your head backwards.
Yes, because it's
right?
so dangerous. Your body knows it's dangerous.
Yeah, like think about how hard it is to harm. Like you can't suffocate yourself by just holding your breath.
Yeah,
you literally can't do it.
Yeah.
You have to do something else
you need
to suffocate yourself.
A third party involved
because you will stop. So I think the fact that he cut his leg off, he like cut his leg off. That's something that I think a person can do if they felt like they had to do.
Oh,
it.
100%.
But the stab in your eye thing is, I think that's like a thing where it's like you almost couldn't ever bring yourself to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because whereas like cutting your leg, it's like something that you'll do slowly and like. But like the stab in your eye thing, like you're gonna flinch. You know, you're gonna like flinch away.
Eren went straight up Saw, like the movie Saw.
Dude,
he fucking gagged himself and started sawing at his own leg. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
and Attack on Titan has this habit of making scenes last longer than they need to, just to drive it home. Because remember when he was cutting at his leg, and that shit, I felt like it lasted for an eternity.
It did. It really went home. And then the stab in the eye out. Eren's conviction, and I do really love the character because he starts off. I always liked him, but he does start off like, like a whiny bitch. But you see,
he lost his family, and it makes sense to me.
And he wants revenge, and he's also mad because at first he like wasn't that good at like, and honestly like he was never. But to be fair, no one. He was never like Mikasa level, and he's comparing himself to Mikasa and other people in the Survey Corps. And he just wanted to be better, and he ends up getting carried by like his Titan form, and he never becomes a great 3D maneuver gear scout. He kind of never gets to fall into that role, and when the time when he's whiny is when he wants to become as great as Levi and Mikasa because he wants to get revenge on all the Titans. And then just so many things happen to carry his resolve and conviction to where we are now.
I love the character. I love that he started off one way and he just slowly is. The reason why I think I've always liked Attack on Titan, why I said it could be the anime that dethroned Death Note for me, my favorite anime of all time, second favorite manga. One Piece is my favorite manga, but it's to me the best anime I've ever seen is Death Note still, and I always say this could dethrone it if it sticks the landing. And I think the reason why I didn't realize it, but the reason why I love it so much is because of Eren. I realized with this final season part 2 where he wasn't in the show, I did not enjoy the show anymore. I was like, God damn, if this show did not have Eren, I don't like it. Like, I just do not like it. Like, I get it. They developed Gabby. She got to run into that girl again that she was about to kill with the rake. And then that girl was about to kill her when she realized what she did. And that they kind of put a little bow on that, which I really liked because both of them hated each other, right? Because they didn't get the full picture. They both saw the other one as inhuman.
Yep.
for different reasons. And then at the end of the day, they realized, holy shit, we're just the same. We're just people.
We're just people.
We're just
We're just
people.
people.
I,
They
I
realize like all this racism, like they don't ever use the word racism, I
but
don't
it,
think,
yeah,
in the show,
exactly. But
because I don't think the word really exists in that
yeah,
universe.
exactly. It doesn't
But
exist
like
clearly.
they realize like all of this racism, like it's not for it's for nothing. Like we were born and told to hate these people, and so
Literally
we did.
that. Gabby was literally born and brainwashed from day one. Reiner has been struggling with his racism since day one. When he comes back home, he tells his family about how awful, and I'm using air quotes here, how awful all of
Yeah,
the Eldians were. And as he's saying it, he's listing all very human things
yeah,
to the
yeah.
point where he scares everyone at the dinner table. They're freaked out. They're like, wait, you didn't say anything monstrous yet.
Yeah, they're like, Reiner just needs a rest. He just needs to rest. He just came back,
Yeah, they're like
and
legit terrified.
because he's like saying how much he hates them in quotes,
But
and
he's
like, oh,
listing
he
off
really,
human qualities. One of them, she
yeah,
loves meat so much that she'll steal the meat and stuff it all into her face before anybody can stop her. The other one is so smart, but he whines and bitches about everything. And then there's this one, and he just goes down this list, and it's just regular people.
it's just regular people, man, and it really hits home. That's a scene that hits home a lot.
Yeah.
There's there was a lot of interesting. There's like just as a side note, like piece of trivia at the when they went to the boat to get the boat, the two guys they see, Sam and Daz,
Okay.
they're actually characters that were shown early on in the series. I had somebody point this out to me. I forget which one's which. I think Sam was one of the ones when the Colossal Titan struck the second time. Sasha ended up saving him. He like fell off, and then Sasha saves him.
Yeah.
And then I had somebody tell me that the guy Daz was the guy that Historia at the time was known as Krista, and Ymir saved him out in the snow. He was the guy that was out in the
Oh.
snow. They saved him. And so those were those two characters that were there that
The one that
Connie
ended up
ended up
getting
having to
killed.
shoot. Yeah,
Yes.
they got shot in the face. Yeah. And the other one shot Armin. Yeah, so like that's really crazy because like those were two characters we were introduced to before.
Yeah.
And another funny piece of trivia. This is for all the people that love their encyclopedia books. I always tell everyone place like a grain of salt in those encyclopedia books that tell you how strong Goku is and like what Naruto can do. Those encyclopedia books aren't written by the authors. So in one of the encyclopedia books, they list those two characters as dead. And it's like they're just not like they never die on screen. Nobody ever says they're dead. But in those encyclopedia books before they list those characters as dead for some fucking reason. And they just never die until now. But like before the final season, those characters were listed as dead when they weren't.
Which is just incorrect. Wow. That's interesting.
So that's just
But
like a point
you're
to
talking
say
about
like
data books, right?
yeah, data books.
Data books are they're always
Yeah.
finicky. And I
But
like how some of the people that we listen to or watch on like YouTube, like Seth the Programmer and Swag Kage, they do bring up data books, but they always say these data books get literally retconned all the time.
you got to be careful with those data books, yo.
Yeah, like the first Naruto data book will say something like Jiraiya's stats are all just like they have a grid for everybody, like
Yeah.
speed, intelligence, genjutsu, ninjutsu, taijutsu, right? And then Jiraiya's was like filled out. But then later on, that shit is nothing. Like
Yeah.
so they retcon a lot. The third Hokage was the strongest shinobi of all time, but then we come to find out it's actually Hashirama.
Yeah.
And it's
yeah.
not close. And it's not even close.
The reason why they called him that, I think, like the retcon reason is because like he learned every jutsu or whatever, allegedly.
Yeah. They need to do a side story on just the third Hokage, because right now, me and the rest of the Naruto community don't really care for that guy. We don't really respect him.
They do need to give a side story for him.
Because he just got
like
hoed in the show. Like in the show, he got hoed.
He needs a good like 50 chapters. Let me get a 50 chapter like third Hokage life story.
Yep,
so we can see like what happened.
All right, so before I know we're getting a little sidetracked and everything, bear with us. So I posted on Facebook a little thing about our next episode is going to be on Attack on Titan Final Season Part 2. I'm interested to know what you think about it. So let me know in the comments. And we got a couple comments I wanted to read out and discuss a little bit. So this is from one of our podcast listeners, Joel. He says, about the Final Season Part 2, it dragged a bit, but ended well. I agree. Attack on Titan is a show about perspective, and I love that fans can agree/disagree with certain decisions.
Excited for that here in this episode.
Excited for Part 3 and looking forward to the podcast. We also have Mitchell Nels, one of our patrons and obviously a supporter of the podcast. He says, any part with Aaron involved was amazing. Otherwise, it did drag. Still enjoyed it though. That's kind of where I'm at. Like, I know I say the episodes are god fucking awful, but like at the end of the day, I'm a pretty intelligent person. Like, I understand what those episodes were doing. I get it. I'm not one of those people who needs action or anything like that. It wasn't that. I just don't agree with what they're doing, so I hate it. Like, I hate the idea of what I'm watching. Like, I get what I'm watching. I understand it. It's not like I'm stupid. I understand why they're showing, you know, Sasha's killer, right?
Mhm.
Being saving Gabby, or you know, Gabby being saved by the girl who was like related to Sasha, and you know, her coming to terms with Sasha's killer, and like those two making up. I get that. I get why they show Flosh going insane as a Jaeger is because he knew the plan the whole time, and they wanted to kind of make us aware of like, okay, he's a hardcore fanatic. He's down with whatever Aaron's down with. I get what those, but I just don't like what I'm seeing because at the end of the day,
one scene with I think Jane. I always have trouble saying his name.
yeah, I
But
call
when
him
he's
Gene.
just like in his bunker and why am I blanking on her name? Hanji is like knocking on the window, like,
Yeah.
"Hey, come on, John!" And then he's just like, "I can just stay here. I can go back to my original plan, just live a life." Because like he was really trying to like not go with the Jaeger, like
Yes.
the against Aaron plan, and then like he was just like fuck, and he like came out. So like those scenes were fucking, yeah, they were legit.
Yeah, we got another comment from Brandon Moore. He says Aaron is still about fuck them kids. Falco's jaw titan looks amazing. Watching Connie and Armin kill their friends was so heartbreaking. How do you stop Aaron now? Part 2 has been wild. I agree. I mean, it's been an absolute fucking ride. This part 2 was just a lot of character development, way less action than part 1. But I love character development personally. I like that more usually than just a bunch of action. There was a part where Annie started getting hit by thunder spears and they fucked her up real bad. And she's basically was dying. She was about to be killed. And then this whole like stroke of luck thing happens where her and Reiner get saved because they got bombarded by thunder spears.
Yeah, her and Reiner were putting in work, but then like there was just too many of them and too many thunder spears, and like they were kind of just done.
I was thinking about how Annie had never seen thunder spears before. Like she never experienced it, what they were like. So you even see her guard her neck because she had done that in season 1 so many times and it worked every time. She just go like this and she'd guard her neck, right?
She rumbles and then
And then you saw her do that against the thunder spears, and that shit did not. And she was, you actually saw her reaction was so like shocked.
Yeah,
What the fuck? They have technology that can do this. Her arms fell off, right?
yeah, dude, she got fucked up. she got fucked up,
ruined. Both her and Reiner were on their deathbeds, and then of course, you know, anime shonen things happened. Like they got saved at the last moment. The Card Titan was like, I have to fight. You know, Falco was like, I have to do something. Or not the Card Titan, the Jaw Titan. I'm mixing up all types of shit. But the Jaw Titan was like, I have to fight. And so he jumps in. His first transformation. I love how Peak told him, don't do that. Your first transformation it never goes well. But,
and he kind of just like raged and he like killed a bunch of them, but then you know he started attacking allies.
He did start attacking.
He wasn't all there.
Yeah,
but it was cool. Really cool to see the female Titan and the armored Titan fighting side by side.
I like the transformation that they did together.
Oh my god, when they fucking Spider-Man'd up, and then they were in the air, and oh dude, that shit was sick.
Yeah, that was cool as hell. There are some really cool scenes from those last couple episodes that I really, really liked. I just wish they were fighting for Eren and not against Eren.
Yeah.
That's
Like
I can only get so excited.
I don't know. I do know. I think if I watched it, and this is just me, this isn't necessarily for everybody else, people are different. I think if I watched it week to week, I would still have a high opinion of the season, but I think I would like it less. But that's just because I know when I watch things week to week, the way like it kind of grates on me.
Yeah.
And I think because I watched it,
you get more time to digest it. Like there's a shock factor associated with Attack on Titan every week. When you watch it all straight through, you do lose a bit of that shock factor because you're just seeing what happens next immediately.
Oh man, dude, I was going in.
Like I watched you get the shock, but then you don't get the chance to really sit back and think about what you just saw. And this is not me like shitting on the way you watched it. Like it's fine. Like I just read 120 chapters of One Piece. Do you think that I ingested One Piece the same way you ingested it week to week?
I think what's important, and this is something that you did, and this is something that I did, is So when you watch it all like that, right?
Yeah.
The only way to ingest it is to also talk about it, like,
Yes.
because so like as you were reading One Piece, you were sending me screenshots and
Constantly.
shit, and so like that's so luckily when I watched it, like all 12
Yeah.
episodes, it wasn't by myself. I was able to talk to somebody
Yeah.
the whole time.
I do think it's important
But
that you had that because, like, it is like, again, I've read 120 chapters of One Piece this week to catch up,
yeah, yeah,
and that's a lot. And there's a lot of details in there and a lot of little things. So what I would do after some chapters is I would go to Reddit and then, like, look what the Reddit discussions about, because that's what I would do
yeah,
if I was
for
watching it
sure.
week to week. That's what I do anyway. So I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, but I was like, I can't possibly do that with every single chapter.
No
Um,
way.
but I was like, I don't want to miss out on some of the finer, because Oda's very crafty in the way he does things. I was like, I don't want to
Yes,
miss
he
out
is.
on a lot of it, and I'm still gonna miss out on stuff. Of course, there's always callbacks that are way too far back that there's no
Yeah.
way a normal human is going to catch every single callback that Oda
No
does.
matter how you ingest One Piece, and I think this goes for any really well written One Piece, I think Attack on
Attack
Titan,
on
no
Titan for
matter how
sure.
you ingest it week to week or all at once, you are going to miss things.
Yes.
There's going to be things you miss.
Yes.
There's things that Fraser said today that I didn't catch. There's things that I said that
Yep.
Fraser didn't catch or at least think about,
Yeah.
and vice
I didn't
versa.
think about
And
Eren influencing other Eldians before just Grisha.
so there's a lot of things regardless of how you ingest it. So yeah, there's
Yeah,
no perfect way.
we both just took it in two different ways, and it definitely, I think, influences my perspective a bit, that I got to literally sit there and just talk about it with someone else who also shared the same sentiment as me. Like, oh god, like, what is happening? Like, why are they trying to stop Eren now, and why are they teaming up with fucking Magath of all people? Are you kidding? Like Magath is scum to me. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, he's scum.
he's like a child predator in a way. He fucking literally grooms children to be mass murder. Like, I hate the guy. So I
Yeah,
can't.
he's terrible. That's why, like, that one scene, I really like that scene where Hanji's just like trying to make the soup, and
Yes,
then they're all kind of like they're just arguing, sort of, and it kind of starts slow, and then
I do like that part a lot. Yeah, because I was
they're
like,
like, dude, you
oh
fucking
shit.
attacked the walls, and then he's like, you want to talk about history? You guys did this 2,000 years ago, and
Yeah.
it's like, dude, you weren't alive, okay? You
Yes.
weren't alive when that happened. Like,
But
yeah, yeah,
you know where that could go, because that people say that about, like, black people now. Like, oh, you weren't alive for slavery. That does it not affect me
yeah,
though?
yeah.
So
But
it is a complex discussion, right? Like that.
But then, like, imagine if, like, right now, right? Like, right now, it was like black people just enslaved all white people, and then it's
Yeah.
like, dude, what the fuck? Like, don't you
Yeah.
see you're making the same mistake?
Yes, it's not a good thing to do. Genocide is not a good thing to do. And under normal
So
circumstances, I don't agree with genocide. Like, I
yeah,
don't
but
think
you're like, fuck them kids, let's go, Aaron.
yeah,
No, and that's what's cool though, and I think it's one of the comments on your Facebook said like, and that's what's so cool about the perspective is like,
people disagree and disagree. Like, I think genocide is okay in this case, and then some people are like, absolutely not. Genocide is genocide, and there's no reason why you should ever do it.
what Aaron? But it's like, even if so, like, genocide is wrong, period. Like what
Yeah,
Hanji said.
yeah,
But like, you understand what Aaron is like. There's no other way. Like, they're going to continuously hunt my people forever. If I don't do this, we can't be free. And Aaron's whole thing is freedom. So he's like, yeah, genocide's wrong, but like, I'm gonna get them before they get me.
yeah. It's easy to root for genocide in the fantasy genre. Let's just say that.
Well, yeah, you can't
Yeah, because
can't talk about
if
that
you
in
think about
real.
genocide under normal, like, Hitler, right? You think about genocide, everyone's against that shit, or I hope so. Everyone's
Yeah,
like, absolutely not. Like, the Jews don't deserve that. Jewish people do not deserve something like that, right? Like, that's just a ridiculous thing to do. But then, you know, apparently a
it
lot of
is.
people back that, and we're fighting for that world. Like, people fought for what Hitler was doing, which is insane. So I do, like, again, I'm a pretty intelligent guy. Like, I get why some people are like, oh my god, what he's about to do is we have to stop him. And then I get why some people are like, Flush and his whole group are like, they've been fucking on us for a long time.
Yeah. What's crazy is like, obviously, and this isn't anything new, but the Germany analogies with Attack on Titan. I mean, even when you look at the names like Kruger,
Yes.
and then when you look at
Reina, Berthold.
yeah, and then when you look at the Eldians, how they all have, they have to wear the
Yep.
band like the Jews in Germany.
It's
So
definitely that.
it's very it's very interesting in the real
Also,
world analogies that are
I'm gonna
drawn
just throw
and
this out real quick. I don't know if the word Jews is offensive. So if it is, Kenny and I are not trying to offend anyone. That is not our intention when we say Jews. I don't know.
Oh yeah, for
It's
sure.
kind of like I've recently heard something about like the word female is offensive to call a woman or something like that, and I don't quite understand. I didn't really research it or whatever, but just like that, we don't intend to, you know, talk about anybody in that kind of way or offend anyone. That is not our intention. I think intent really is important. So we're not.
Yeah,
If that word is offensive, you know, Jewish people calling them Jews or whatever, we do not intend to offend them. I just want to throw that out there because it's starting to, as we're saying it, I'm like, I wonder.
you're like, yeah,
Like, I don't know. For all
yeah.
this could be
Just
a
to
rant
clarify,
right
we're talking about how genocide is wrong.
Yes. Yes.
Just to,
like, I'm with Aaron in the show. Like I said, in the fantasy genre, it's easy to root for genocide. In real life, it's like, well, that shit's not okay.
Also, from the perspective of Aaron and Attack on Titan, like you said multiple times, like from their perspective, it's like you guys have been trying to genocide us.
They have literally been trying to genocide them, and they just got Uno reversed.
Yeah, and Aaron's just like, well, fuck y'all. Like, I'm not letting you take out my people, so I guess I have to take out you.
Yeah. There's one more comment, too, from Thomas Chaco. He says, started getting boring after Eren turned into the Founding. Felt like they were taking way too long to execute their plan when the rumbling is actually happening. The fight scene at the docks with Mikasa, Reiner, and Annie was insane and nicely animated. Last episode felt like filler, but at least they gave us some rumbling footage at the end. So I think it's wild to call the last episode filler.
I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, I think
specifically the last episode thing.
Yeah, that's wild.
Very, very, very important to show like the character interactions.
Yeah, I think that seeing them live through regular life and how people are still racist no matter what, even if it's not against Eldians, they're racist against other people regardless. I think that was important to see. I think it was important to see the Eldians discriminate against Eldians too, which they already kind of knew that, but just to see that again, that like they were like, oh, we're the good Eldians, but those other ones, they're the ones on that island, wipe them out. Like
it's that like that really toxic like colorism thing.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes,
like
colorism, but also
really
self-hatred.
Yeah,
self-hate. Like that's a real thing. Self-hate is a real thing in real life, and the author touched on a lot of touchy shit.
Yes,
the author of Attack on Titan touched on genocide, racism, just a bunch of things that are like technically, like you said, like colorism issues, like self-hatred, things like that. There's some really, really touchy shit going on. Child labor, like the Hitler Youth.
Child soldiers. Like child soldiers is something that still happens in real life in some countries, and it's like that's not a thing that's okay.
Yeah, like the Hitler Youth League, like that's a thing, and that's essentially what, you know, Annie and Berthold and Reiner, that's what they come from. Like a Hitler Youth League.
Yeah, I mean, they even say, like, in Final Season Part 1, there's a part where they talk about, like, are we really sending 4 kids to go do this mission?
That, yep.
And it's just like, yeah, we're sending 4 kids to go do this fucking mission.
4 Kids TV, like, Pokemon, we got them Pokeballs out. It's real bad.
So, yeah, Attack on Titan touches on a lot of stuff. I really enjoy... I don't know if this author has worked on anything else.
Me either.
Probably not. But if he has, it's kind of like how... Yeah, I don't know. Probably not really. But I do... Everything I've seen so far, I very much enjoyed.
Yeah, like I like the anime as a whole, but for me, I am very scared that it's going to nosedive and that it's been nosediving with the Attack on Eren now. Attack on Eren is not, I did not come here for.
Let me ask you this, and this also is a question for everybody. Do you think that the idea that this was the end, because so with me, without knowing how many, like I didn't know what episode I was on, right? So I'm just watching it. So then when I realized, because like we paused to check because we had to go, and I realized there was only 3 episodes left, I went, oh.
There's no way.
Well, this isn't the end. Yeah. I was like, oh, well, there's a part 3. Like I literally, so do you think the fact that you thought, well, they're wrapping it up this season, because I think this is a problem. This is my complaint with Attack on Titan, the anime. The anime as a whole is amazing. I like every single season. However, the problem is the production schedule and the marketing. There being a 4-year hiatus between season 1 and 2.
Really bad.
Really, really hurt it. And then them calling 3 years ago this the final season. Really psych. Like that, I think that...
And they want to do this whole 10-year thing. So it started apparently in 2023, when it really does end for real, it's going to have... It will have been 10 years since 2013 when it aired. And they really wanted to line up that way, and I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that it had to happen this way.
Yeah, because I think that... Well, not even I think. I'm asking because this is an experience I couldn't have because, like I said, I didn't know what episode I was on. I didn't even know how many episodes were in the season. I just turned it on, watched it, then I realized there's only 3 episodes left, and I was like, well, it's not like they can't wrap it up in 3 episodes, so there's going to be a part 3.
Right.
So my question for you and other people is: do you think the idea that this truly was the final season had any influence on the enjoyment week to week?
No, because I knew that this wasn't the final season when it got to, I want to say the rumbling happened. And in theory, I was like, well, this is the end. And I was happy. The episode where he did the at everyone, and that was I was very pleased. I went to sleep really well that night. And then the next 2 episodes happen, right? Where Armin realizes that's kind of strange. He broke out every Titan.
Yeah.
And then I said, well, how come? And so this is the time when Annie still hasn't been thawed out yet. I was like, damn, I guess they're not going to do anything with Annie, which is weird. And then the next episode is called Thaw, right? And then so she thaws out.
Yep.
And then they start showing her plan with her dad and stuff. And I was like, wait, how many episodes left? 4. There's not enough time to do everything in 4 episodes. Like, there's just not enough time. So,
so same thing.
Same thing. Right after the rumbling, you kind of realize if they were going to end it, like, okay, let's see some destruction. Let's see Eren wipe out, some continents, right?
It's got to be like regardless of what happens, regardless of whether or not they can compete, there's going to be like a climax fight of some way.
There's going to be a confrontation with Eren in that whatever form he's in right now. There's going to be some kind of confrontation.
I think it's just like a souped up founding Titan form. Because remember when we saw the founding Titan and he was just like, he was so big he couldn't walk and he was like dragging his body across the fucking ground.
You mean the race mishap?
Yeah, remember when he became the founding Titan?
Yeah.
He was just like gigantic. Or did he become the founding Titan?
He didn't become the founding Titan. He became a Titan. But I guess when a royal family member becomes a Titan, sometimes it can just it can just do some weird shit, because that is interesting. He injected himself with regular.
Because that's what when I saw Eren take that form, I was like, oh, that's like when Reese did it.
Yeah,
because it
only
felt
his,
the same.
like, it just fucked up. So I guess his got messed up. And Eren fully has the founding Titan, like, completely. And he took the form that the original one, if you looked at the episode with Ymir, it was this, when they first showed her transfer, she looked terrifying. It was like this big skeletal.
Her ribs were like out.
Yes, and we don't know if it's because she's very malnourished or if that's just the form that it always takes. But it was this very skeletal, scary looking, huge, way bigger than any other Titan, like way bigger. So yeah, but we're past the 2-hour mark. Good amount past it now. I'm gonna edit this down, but I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the IMNerd podcast talking about Attack on Titan Final Season Part 2. Let us know what you thought about it. We did read some comments from people. It seems like they pretty much shared the same sentiments as Kenny and I. Like different people said different parts of how Kenny and I felt. I saw some people say it dragged. Some people say they understand how people disagree and agree. Some people thought that certain episodes were filler. There's all types of opinions. So let us know those opinions. You can write into imnerdpodcast@gmail.com if you have a listener letter that you want us to talk about. We'll read it aloud on the show. Also, again, check out our Patreon, check out our YouTube channel, subscribe to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. That does actually help, apparently, with the algorithm. So if you actually subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts or whatever it's called, follow, subscribe, like, that helps. And if you guys really want to help, you could write a review and give us 5 stars and all that nonsense. But that's enough shilling for today. Thank you guys so much for listening to this. If you made it this far, you're a real one, because this is over 2 hours.
And one more thing before we go, I wanted to ask you real quick, because we've talked about the music a lot, but we didn't really talk about it here. On one end, there's probably some things we forgot to talk about. Maybe we'll bring it up some other time. But how'd you feel about? I didn't like the opening this season. The opening song I don't like. I like the ending song. I didn't like the opening song.
I didn't like it. The opening. Okay, wait. You did like the opening?
No, the opening's like the rock song, and it's like rumbling. Yeah. I don't like that.
I didn't like it at first. Like the first episode that we watched it, right? The very first episode, I hated it. I was like, this is too much. It was a lot of screaming.
Yeah. I just don't like the screaming stuff.
And then it grew on me.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I like it. I don't like it better than season 1's. And I don't like it better than Sasageyo. That's my favorite.
Yeah,
but
that's the shit.
The song Rumbling, it grew on me a lot.
Yeah, so
and I do like it now.
I'll say that it grew on me, and that I like it more than I initially liked it. Yeah. But I still can't say that I like it. Yeah, if that makes sense. Like, I tolerate it. Like I do enjoy it a bit more than initially. It did grow on me,
I
but I
don't
still
care.
can't say like I like it.
I don't care for the screaming. So that I don't think I'll ever like screaming in music. There's that song "I Am a God" by Kanye West, and he literally starts screaming at the end, and I hate it. I turn it off at that
Yeah.
part every time. I love the song "I Am a God" though. I love it. Hurry up with my damn croissants. Like I love it. A lot of great bars from that song. But that screaming shit, I'll pass. Rumbling, same thing. But then it has like this really cool beat to it.
Yeah.
Like when it's not
Yeah, there's parts of
screaming,
it that are nice. So yeah.
yes. And then the guy starts singing in Japanese, which I like. Uh what I think my favorite song out of every Attack on Titan song though, as far as like with lyrics, with actual lyrics, is the ending of Final Season Part 1. I
Mm,
love every
it's
time Final
really
Season Part 1 episodes ended, it was this super sad feeling. And that song just drove it home every time. I loved it.
yeah, I like the not as much as Final Season Part 1, but I like the ending of Part 2 as well. I thought
Okay.
it was a nice song.
I
I
gotta
like
hear
the
that
ending
one
cinematic.
again. Yeah.
It's a nice song. It's a nice ending cinematic, and they do some cool poetic things with it. And
Yeah.
then, but my favorite song, period, with lyrics is definitely the Sasageo. Like,
Nageo. Yeah, that shit is fire. That's so good. Oh man. Yeah. All right. Well, as I always say, guys, do the things that make you happy.
and I agree. And especially if the thing that makes you happy is going back in time and torturing your dad and killing people.
Peace out.